Social Suplex Podcast Network.
This is All Things Elite. Welcome back to All Things Elite. Load up the pod, man, it's on when we speak. Rich right here, let me warm it up for Austin and Floyd. Couldn't be no one but the boys. When it come to All Things Elite from the fan perspective, swear, man, it ain't no question. Hear from them first. Swear, man, they putting in the work. No, they had to get me for the verse. Social Suplex Network's on. I was at a time in your headphones. Austin and Floyd on the microphone. Backing out on the ring, getting in the zone. Pulling up the show, give it 7 stars, you already know. Who else could it be but the show with the proclivity for positivity? I'm gone.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 247th episode of Social Suplex's podcast about AEW with the proclivity for positivity. Welcome to All Things Elite. My name is Austin Sumwoods. I'm the host of this lovely show. Joining with me, as always, and back from across the pond, back from his amazing trip, back from Wembley Stadium, my good buddy, my good friend, Mr. Floyd Johnson Jr. He is very tired. He's only been back home for a few days, but I mean, my man.
Literally a little over 24 hours.
I was going to say, how you doing, man?
I am feeling a deep and profound respect for what wrestlers do, because I got a little taste of it. A taste. I understand. I in no way have done what they do. I've gotten a taste of it, being gone 9 days, traveling to all the different cities I traveled to, and my body literally gave out on me yesterday. I just went to sleep. If I wanted to do anything yesterday, it wasn't getting done. It just gave out. And now I've slept a day, and I'm home, and I'm trying to get back in my routine, and I feel a little better now, but my body is still like, why did you do this to me? So that's where we're at right now. But I am very happy, very fortunate to have went on the trip. I had the time of my life. My wife does not come with me on a lot of wrestling trips. But she did Vegas this year. Was that this year? I don't even know. That was last year. And she did Vegas last year and then London this year. And we had a great time. Bunch of Harry Potter stuff. I'm actually, you're probably was expecting this now, but I'm actually going to hold this to the most of my trip stuff to the end of the show, so we can get right to wrestling for the people. They may be listening to the first time. They may have found the show over the weekend. We're going to get to the wrestling as quickly as possible. But I had a really, really good time at the show. Met some new people. Learned a new game. It was, and then ended with the conversation with Sting. It was a once-in-a-lifetime trip. And my wife got to be there for it. So, yeah. But like I said, you'll get the minutia. We're going to go pretty much straight into the all-in review, and you'll get the minutia of everything that happened at the end of the show. So, yeah, we're going to jump right. Yeah.
We'll jump right into everything. Before we get into our All in London 2024 review, guys, please continue to download this fine show on YouTube Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever you choose to listen to us on. Turn automatic downloads on and give us a share with your friends, family, coworkers, whoever you wish. And rate, review, and subscribe so you don't miss a single episode of the show. And you can also follow us on Twitter at ATElitePod. You can follow at Social Suplex, who make this show possible. Check out all the other shows they have on their network. I am at Austin Sumowitz, SZUMOWICZ, and Floyd is at Floyd Johnson Jr. on Twitter. Of course, the big news of the week is All in London, which just wrapped up this past weekend. Floyd coming back from London again. All of his travel stories and everything he got to experience in the UK will be coming up after our review of the show, after our review of All in London. And my jealousy of this man to be in the UK, to be at All in London, not just because I wanted to be at that show, but because I'm a huge fan of everything UK, British culture, British entertainment. I think UK entertainment has some incredible stuff. And yet this man didn't even know who Oasis was until this morning. So,
I was going to say that was going to be my funny tidbit to start. I had no idea who Oasis was until 9 o'clock a.m. Central Time. On August 27th.
Absolutely disgraceful. This man, who is a fan of the worst soccer club in the UK, Tottenham Hotspurs, as opposed to me, the fan of the best football club, Arsenal Football Club. This man didn't even know who the hell Oasis, Noel and Liam, didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
Probably only knew Wonderwall, and that was it.
Yes. But to the same people that got it to me, I always ask them, do you know who UGK is? Do you?
I will not comment.
Exactly. Because UGK, the Underground Kings, one of the biggest rap groups in the Texas and Oklahoma area, were on the biggest song in the world, Big Pimpin' with Jay-Z. One actually performed in the main event of All In. I'm like, yeah, I'm black. That's why I don't know who Oasis is. I'm black. I'm a black guy from Oklahoma. No, I don't know who Oasis is. Sorry.
Fair enough. Regardless, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get into All In. Did you want to comment on the All In 0 hour matches? Kind of just do a rapid fire of those real quick.
Yes, I love that everyone got on the show, but the crowd, the London crowd, which is always hot. I don't know how it came across on TV, but in person, did not give a crap about these shows. These matches.
The 16 tag match, which featured Private Party, Arya Daivari, the Dark Order, Satnam Singh and Jay Lethal, and Anthony Ogogo versus. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was like, when the Pride of London, actual Olympic medalist Anthony Ogogo basically gets no pop, you know they don't care.
Exactly, and they went against Kyle Fletcher, Rocky Romero, Kip Sabian, Dynamite Kid, Tommy Billington, Top Flight, Action Andretti, and Leo Rush for that one. And then they had another big tag match on 0 hour as well. Actually, no, that wasn't on 0 hour. That was on the main show. So,
yeah, I love that everybody got on the show. These are my only comments about these matches, really, because honestly, the results were the results, except for the Stokely and Willow match. But the Giant matches were, fun or whatever, and I'm glad everybody got on the show. But I would rather you give us 4 matches with stakes than to just throw everybody in a match.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, like the Willow match, you could just tell the energy was different. On the Willow, Stokely, Chris Statlander match, the entrances.
Because there were stakes to it.
Because it mattered, and the other match was like, oh, well, even if you did I would have rather seen you take the same, there's 8-man, there's 16 people in one, and I think the other one was like a 10-man match.
Yeah, it was a 10-man tag between Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara, the Von Erichs, and Shibata versus Cage of Agony and the Undisputed Kingdom.
Austin, listen to me. Tell me what you think. Take those same 28 men, right? Or 26? I don't know what it was. 28. I think it was 28 men. Take those 28 men, put them in a battle royal. Winner gets a TNT title shot.
Boom.
Everybody still gets on the show.
And there's weight to it.
Then you just have the guy lose to Darby or Jack Perry on Dynamite the next show.
If only they could lose to Darby instead of
like, dude, like people. Battle royals are the pizza of wrestling. Even it's bad pizza, it's still pizza. You know what I mean?
For real, honestly.
Yeah, so battle royals have at least a level of enjoyment of all of it. And dude, you could have gave
excitement. You
could have gave a Go-Go or one of the UK guy a win. Hell, give Dustin Rhodes a win. Let him go for the 3rd title. But I think that would be better than what you presented. And that's not a hindsight thing. If you would have asked me before the show, I've been like, just do a battle royal. Just do a pre-show battle royal because people love battle royals.
Yeah, I mean it's a very simple thing to do.
Yeah,
there's not much bad stuff to say about the matches because I mean they did what they were designed to do.
Yeah.
Shout out to Stokely motherfucking Hathaway, my G, coming out full Michael Jackson. Remember the time get up. Oh my God, I popped when I saw Stokely Hathaway dressed up in his Egyptian Michael Jackson, Remember the Time, Dangerous Era shit. I'm like, this dude's a G. This man knows his shit.
I laughed hilariously. If anybody watched Collision, Stokely was in a match and he threw a beautiful spine buster, and I was like, let's see if he pulls the spine buster out. And but the entrances were amazing. My girl Willow came out looking all Willow-rific.
Yes, she did.
And it was very good. I was excited. I was actually excited about this pre-show match.
Yeah, that was the one pre-show match that everyone I felt like had interest in, and I think it did a really good job. Ishii was the one who was able to pin Stokely Hathaway, and then Willow now will have the chance to choose her stipulation when she's going to be facing Chris Statlander in a couple weeks. It's going to be All Out, correct?
Correct.
Yep. Also, I will say shout out to Kevin Von Erich coming out with the Von Erichs. I thought was a cool sight to see, and then the closing moment where they all did the Iron Claw, I think was something that did get the crowd going. And also, Brian Cage and Sammy Guevara with their dual Wolverine outfits, and then I mean, at least Sammy and Dustin were Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yes,
but you had the Swolverine dressed as Wolverine and Sammy Guevara as Wolverine, trying to do the pointing Spider-Man meme basically when they were in the ring.
Yes, it looked like they were tagging up and then they were on separate teams.
Yeah, no, they're on different teams. Exactly.
Yes, hilarious.
Yeah, and then of course the final, and then you have the opening contest of All In. We'll go ahead. Well, actually, no. Last thing we have to say from the 0 Hour. I'm crazy that this was on 0 Hour. I would have thought that this should have been on the main show. Before the main show happens, and we're still in 0 Hour, Soraya's music hits, and she comes out with the gorgeous Harley Cameron and her entire family once again making their entrance. But there's a very different energy than there was last year at All In London, where she was the local girl and the local hero. Harley Cameron tells everyone to simmer down because Saraya is pissed. Show can't go on, and Saraya is screaming, "I won the Women's World Championship last year representing my country, and this year I'm not even on the show." She screamed about how she's the best female wrestler to ever come out of England and that the show will not continue until she gets the respect that she deserves. And oh, haters are gonna hate. Jamie motherfucking Hater makes her return, wipes everybody out, and then she gets Harley in the ring and then just smacks her down to the ground. Oh my God, it's so good to see Jamie Hater back. We have missed her so much. It's so massive. Great to see. Love it so. Can't believe this was on 0 Hour. I would have loved this on the main show. But either way, Jamie Hater is back. Everything is so great. So great to see. How did it feel, Floyd, to be in the crowd for that return?
The pop was massive. Everybody assumed she was going to be there. A friend of mine called it specifically during that match. Hey, what up, Chris? Chris Rain. He called it specifically during that match. And I was like, no, I see her coming back doing the Brit match. Well, you can tell who was right, Chris. I bow to you, sir. He called this, and he called it, and he's like, oh, she's going to come back in this array. Like, he called it exactly how it happened. That was cool. A super loud pop. I like the Saraya got her moment, and her whole family was out there. Even her mom got to get involved. It was such a massive. Glad Jamie Hater's back. I think this is where this is not expert talking. I think it would have been a bigger and more impactful pop if she came out to take out Camille. And, Britt the result could have still been the result. But if she would have came out to take out Camille and Camille fought to the back, I think that would have been a bigger pop than when it happened. Maybe
I think that's a fair statement to say, yeah.
Yes, I mean, like I said, I have the ability of hindsight. I was watching it, and I was just like, those are foreshadowing. The Mercedes match and Britt match probably needed it more. But, you wanted to get Saraya on the show, so that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm going to be Yeah, it's going to be, it makes a lot of sense, but there's a lot I'm going to want to say about that match too when we get to it. We'll get now to the main card for All in London, and we open with the AEW World Trios Championship London ladder match between the champions, the Patriarchy, the Bang Bang Gang, Juice Robinson and the Guns, the House of Black, and the Bastard Pack, and the BCCs, Claudio and Wheeler Yuta.
I want to know, and this pre-match, how many people bought it because they did the entrances during 0 hour and then started to show because I thought that was cool because it's like literally this is what's about to happen. You got to press that buy button to see it. So I just thought I don't know if that, I don't know like the history of pay-per-view wrestling and 0 hours and pre-shows. I thought that was a brilliant way to do your pre-show. Like, okay, well, this is first match, and you can kind of, you start getting excited, like, oh, man, we're going to get this. And they're like, nope. Cut it off. So everybody got a loud pop. Gun Club, okay, I'm not going to call them the big show of AEW yet, but to go from face to heel to face this year, I think since February?
I think so.
Like, I don't know if that's right. I'm not trying to be right. I'm just trying to give you the feeling. The feeling is they went from face to heel to face like in 8 months. And I know wrestling moves fast, but damn, y'all need to slow down.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah, it's like, so no, Gun Club, they were super over. The Patriarchy, man, Christian, man. Oh, man. Okay. I think, because I kind of want to bring doing awards back this year, because we kind of taken a while off of that.
Sure.
I think the MVP race would be one of the more interesting races right now. Because do you go Swerve, Ospreay, or Christian?
It's hard, man. It's really, really hard.
Because
I feel like
Swerve and Ospreay have both been main eventers in the big matches. But Christian has literally been the Swiss Army knife of AEW. Wherever you need him, he makes the thing important. Like, he reminds me of what Jericho was for a very long time. Like, whatever he's in, it feels super important because he's so good. So I would love, I'm not going to put that poll out now. We'll save it. But right now, that would be my 3 for MVP. I'm not talking best wrestler who has the best 5-star matches. I'm talking about like who has been one of the most important people in their, who has been the most important person in their role this year. And I feel like it'd be hard to argue against Christian.
He has done so much good work, and I think it's just a testament to like how talented he is. This match, though, overall just had so much great moments in it. Just guys flying all over the place, using those ladders to really knock each other down. The moment where Killswitch literally has the chance to grab the titles and win the match, but Christian is adamant that he wants to be the one to win it for the team. He wants to be the one that does it, and he ends up costing them in the process. And then you proceed to have some insane moments like where the Guns are are hanging on to Claudio and I believe it was Brody, I think, and they're on ladders, and then they just fall backwards through 2 tables. And like they're landing on, like they're on their backs, and I'm just like, that's got to be the worst bump because like you got a man on top of you as you go through a table. Like shit must have absolutely sucks.
I love that bump. I just thought it was so cool.
It was great. Juice took a vicious groin shot on the top rope thanks to Christian. Like that looked especially vicious for whatever reason. The kill switch to Pac on the chair and his just disgruntled face as he's just like got no idea where he is. But in the end, Christian he jumps off of a ladder, knocking Buddy off of another ladder. The tables also on this one barely wanted to the ladders on this one just like man, dude. But basically, as he knocks Buddy off of a ladder, Killswitch has got Christian on his shoulders, helps him up, but Pac gets up on the other side, knocks Christian Cage off of the ladder, and Pac wins the Trios Championships with his new partners, Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta, this Frankenstein team. And I believe it was confirmed, or at least the reports were coming out that this was supposed to be the Lucha Bros in this spot. But of course, they're no longer going to be with the company anymore. But Claudio, Yuta, and Pac, massive victory for them as they win the AEW Trios Championships. And the House of Black also gives Pac a sign of respect as they raise his arm, actually. This was a fun start to the show. And Pac got his Wembley moment. It was a little weirder than we would have thought it would have been, but he gets his Wembley moment and he opens the show winning the Trios Championships. Big moment for Pac and big moment for BCC as well.
Yes, awesome moment for Pac. I know I said on the show that this was the one team that shouldn't win, but you know what? After they won, I heard the Pac. You saw Pac. You show some emotion. Like he was very happy. I think that was definitely worth it. I also said this was the sign that the Lucha Bros are gone. This is the double gone.
Done.
They are gone. Like if they stayed with A&W, like truly shocked face. They are gone. And yeah, because man, the Lucha, the Death Triangle's the Trios champion sounds fun, but whatever. We got this Pac thing, and I think it might start a storyline with him being BCC adjacent. Because if you think about the end of the night, that adds more to it, so they could be going somewhere there. Yeah, so I'm excited for that. But yeah, the Guns again were very hot, and Christian, you think he's done, but he's not done.
Not done, right? Not done yet, man.
Not done by a long shot.
Absolutely. We then move on to the next match, one of my most anticipated matches of the show, the AEW Women's World Championship match. Timeless Toni Storm versus the Glamour Mariah May. Shout out to Toni Storm's entrance with the full-on Shining reference with the whole portrait of her, and it's labeled Toni Storm, Wembley Stadium, 1924. Love that. And then they come out and they're just beating the hell out of each other. Absolutely bullying and fighting the crap out of each other. Mariah May going with the full heel move of slapping her own mother in the face. Slaps her own mother in the face, and it was a damn vicious slap.
So that was Mariah May's mom?
That was Mariah May's mom. That was her own mom.
Okay, because someone said in the crowd that was Toni Storm's mom. I was like, that woman looked like a year older than Toni Storm. I don't know how that works.
No, that was her own mother. That was Mariah May's mom.
That's what happens.
Because she was wearing a Glamour shirt. She was wearing the Mariah May shirt.
That is what happens when you don't have the audio in the ring. Yes. I had, like, why did she slap that person? Literally, I saw this woman walk past me 6 times with the guy that was with her. I had no idea who she was. The next thing I know, she was getting slapped by Mariah May. I fully thought that was Toni Storm's sister. That's what I said. Oh, Toni Storm's sister. And then someone said it was Toni Storm's mom.
Yes, no, it was Mariah May's mom. And this also came right after she drop kicked Luther into the railing, and after she gave a vicious powerbomb onto the floor to Toni Storm. Toni Storm hit a gorgeous Storm Zero on the steel steps as well, and they're just like literally beating the hell out of each other. Mariah's bleeding from the top of her head, and just some great shots that they had in this match as she's down after they hit each other both with a headbutt. And then as Mariah tries to grab the title belt, Luther pulls it away. Mariah's got her shoe in hand, but Toni has it, takes it away from her. Toni was thinking to use the shoe, getting the revenge, but she starts crying, and because she loved her. She loved her, and she can't bring herself to do it. Mariah then proceeds to knee strike her twice, hit the Storm Zero, and your new AEW Women's World Champion, the Glamour, Mariah May. And Toni is left in the middle of the ring with her pose where she's like kind of moving her arms around while she's flat backed on the mat. And she's kind of a mixture of crying and kind of laughing almost a little. I mean, she's gone. She is fully gone. And Mariah May has cemented herself as one of the top women in the division in AEW. This storyline has made a star out of Mariah May, and spectacular work, honestly. The match did some really good stuff. I don't know exactly how you want me to grade it from like a wrestling side of things, but they hit some damn good moves on each other, and it was physical as well. But man, dude, the way this whole thing has been put up, all this makes me realize that RJ City needs to be doing more stuff and do more segments. Have this man continue to produce more shit, especially with the women, because holy shit, like this feud has been one of the highlights for me in AEW these past few months, and it's been so fun to watch. And this was a huge moment for Mariah. Congrats to her. Love this match.
I can say this 100%. And this is a show where Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson and Swerve were on this show. This was my favorite match of the show.
Man,
if you gave me my opinion, again, fan perspective, hindsight being 2020, I want to make sure that it's known.
Right.
This match and the Mercedes Tony Storm match would have been switched. Because I just thought this match was so good.
I do agree with you from that point. I thought that the TBS Championship match should have been just like switched with the match that went after it. But
yes.
Again, that's for a different reason altogether. But like, I get your point though. I get what you mean.
Yeah, and it was just like this match was like emotion, the storytelling. Then the performance, the actual in-ring performance was, well, this was, I've always said, and if you listen to the show, you've heard this a ton, that my ideal wrestling is when AEW's wrestling and WWE storytelling meet in the middle.
Correct.
This was the perfect match to me.
Yeah, it was so well done, dude.
Because when they wrestled and went after each other, it was hard hitting. It was physical. It was great wrestling. Then it had this amazing, roughly year-long story, and it led to the direct result of the match, the finisher kickouts of the big moves. Then it got to this, and then it got to the end, and Mariah May won. And honestly, I didn't know who was going to win. I think you could have given a good reason for either of them too. And based storyline wise and everything, there was a good argument for either one to win. So I was really on the edge of my seat watching the match, which I didn't feel like that way on any other match, because I kind of like, even on the other matches, I kind of knew who was going to win. Like the foreshadowing, all that stuff, I knew who was going to win. This match, I didn't know who was going to win, so the false finishes actually got me. And then how she lost, where she couldn't take that kill shot to steal a line from Swerve. Yeah, steal a line from Swerve. I thought that was very important storytelling. And with some shows they announced, it's like, oh my God, I can see where the next match happens.
Yeah, dude, it's so great, and I can't wait to see the continuation of this too, because these two girls have just done such amazing work. I love it, dude. I absolutely loved it. We'll move over now to the FTW Championship match, Learning Tree Chris Jericho versus Hook, with Fozzy coming out for him to perform, which was a nice little touch for Jericho. Jericho actually singing his song down to the ring. And then Hook comes out. Only thing that bummed me out with this match being so early in the day was because you could barely see the Hook signal, because it was still light outside. That was the only problem I had with that little bit. And this match was all right, I thought. I think it did what it wanted to do for the most part, which was to make sure Hook finished the moment right there and get his FTW Championship back. The amazing moment of Taz finally seeing enough and getting up and choking out the bad apple Brian Keith. It was just so amazing to see. And Hook regains the FTW Championship, gets the embrace with his dad Taz. That was nice to see. But if you looked online, basically everyone was talking about how many people went to go to the bathroom when Chris Jericho came out, because man, people hate this man. Dude, but I thought it was all right.
Dude, I will tell you, that is a fallacy, because first of all, this is a stadium show and there's 50,000 people. After every match, a lot of people went to the bathroom.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah, but I want to let you know there was one match in particular that, because of the previous match before it, everyone went to the bathroom, and it directly affected the.
I'm pretty sure I know which one you're talking about.
The build of the match, so it was just like, yeah, people fucking love Chris Jericho in the UK, and it's that simple. They love that man. Now, musical performances. Every WrestleMania I've ever been to, because that's the only kind of show I can do it. Every time there's a musical performance, 20% of the audience goes to the bathroom, because that's not what wrestling fans came from. And it was a full-on song before he made his entrance. I think more people left. Again, this is just my opinion. I think more people left because there was a musical performance than because it was Chris Jericho.
Fair enough. I think
but people are going to, form their opinion on either way they want to, and that's their business. Whatever you want to think it is, that's what it was. So
right, exactly.
No, I thought this match was good. I was. They got me because I was full on. Oh God, faces have no friends. This dude has been fighting with Shibata and Samoa Joe against them. We know Shibata can wrestle. He didn't come out and help. Samoa Joe wasn't nowhere to be found. He wasn't on All In. Because, once you wrestle Samoa Joe All In, you probably never will come back. I just know that. Right?
It's not a likely scenario where you'd be able to.
Yes, you do not come back from wrestling Samoa Joe on All In. But when he didn't, I said it on the show. I remember calling this exact thing. My wife said, "You called this on the show." I was like, Taz is going to choke somebody out. I was like, he can't suplex anybody because of his shoulders. But I was like, he's going to put somebody in the Taz mission. I thought it was going to be Big Bill, but, Taz is kind of smaller on Big Bill. It probably would have been a little difficult to get around that. Brian Keith, perfect size for it to happen. It was such a moment. Everybody forgot how much they hated Hook for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I will say Hook got a much better reception on this show than he did on Collision.
Dude, Collision, I thought his career was over, man. Because I was there for Collision in Cardiff, beautiful city. I want to tell everybody I'm a Cardiff fan. Wales. I'm a Wales fan. I was only in Wales for a day. I kind of fell in love with Wales. I will definitely go back there. They were big Jericho and Big Bill fans. Didn't give a F about Hook. Apparently that was an anomaly because this crowd was much better with them. So, yeah, Hook, FTW champion.
Yeah, absolutely. We then move over to the next match where we had the AEW World Tag Team Championship match. The Young Bucks versus the Acclaimed versus FTR. Of course, Young Bucks with their second UK outfit that they have had with the London shows. Instead of being coming out like they did last year, where they came out as dressed up as Freddie Mercury, this time it was the Beatles. They came out with their Sgt. Pepper outfits, to which I proceeded to make them probably the meanest joke of the day.
I will say this is another maybe there's a black guy out there that got this. I did not get it.
You didn't get this either?
Of course not.
Jesus Christ, man.
I just left my hotel, and there was an Indian wedding going on, and there was a bunch of people dressed like that. Not in those colors, but dressed in general like that. And I thought it was just a shout out to the Indian culture in England.
It was 20 years ago today, and Sgt. Pepper about the band to play.
But it was not 20 years ago today. I'm guessing it was closer, probably 40.
It was much longer.
Yeah, 40
it was
or 50.
Much longer than that.
I'm going to guess 40 or 50 years ago today, and I am not up on my Beatles history. There was this movie called Yesterday. I learned...
Great movie. Ed Sheeran has a great cameo in that movie.
I learned all the Beatles songs from that movie. Otherwise, yeah. Yeah. The Beatles weren't played in my house growing up.
What was your favorite Beatles song from that movie? I'm curious.
Oh, man. Okay. So it might not be from that movie. I don't remember. But it's on Love Actually.
Ah.
All you need is love, right?
Oh, that one, yeah.
Yeah,
I love
that's my favorite Beatles song.
Yeah,
period.
the one I thought they did really good in that movie was when they had the Long and Winding Road played.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to ever be like, oh, they did a good version of All You Need Is Love by it was Craig Morrison, Return of the Mac or whatever. And I thought that was good, but it's like my favorite Beatles song. I've heard their regular version, and it's my favorite Beatles song. All You Need Is Love.
Yes, and then I think I made a mean joke of like, why couldn't you get in a car crash like Sonny Bono? I think I made a very mean joke to the Young Bucks about that, and people said that was too mean. And I was like, well, I've said way worse than that, first of all.
Yes, you have said way worse. But yeah, the Young Bucks looking good. Oh, and okay, there are moments in the night that involve the show, and I understand everybody's going to have their moment of the night that involve the show. But shortly before the show, me and my wife took a picture, and I said, at All In, we wear pink. And we had our pink shirts on and pink shoes, and we were matching.
Awesome.
Looking super cute. Looking super cute. And I was so excited because it was just a line from Mean Girls. You know, on Wednesdays we wear pink. I just changed it to All In, we wear pink. So FTR comes out, you know, they're in their stuff. And I'm like really excited. Everybody's doing the beat, and I'm like, then they rip off their clothes, and what are they wearing? Austin.
Heart Foundation pink.
We were all matching. The FTR Express had no idea, no clue at all. This was like nothing talked about. I just wore pink to All In last year in London. I was like, I'm going to wear pink to All In this year in London. When 2026 comes and All In's back in London, I'm going to wear pink to that show too. That was literally the only reason. And then they rocked the pink. They understood the assignment. They gave your boy a shout out. I had to hit him up like, I wore pink.
UK singing theme songs is the best part of wrestling shows.
Yeah, dude, it is the awesome part, and they're singing a theme song that doesn't have words,
that doesn't have lyrics. That's
yes. So no, that was really cool. I popped, and my friends were like, and Crystal looks at me like, they wore pink, and I was like, did you know? And I was like, no, I had no idea. None. Yeah, so I just thought that was just a cool little moment. It had nothing to do with me, like anything. If anything, it was more a shout out to Bret Hart, who wrestled Davey Boy Smith in Wembley in '92. It had nothing to do with Floyd.
No, for sure.
But it was super cool that we ended up matching. Because their front suit was their normal FTR colors, and then they ripped it off, and it was like... And I hit Cash up, and he's like, "You knew, top fan." I was like, I will fucking take it.
Love that. And then of course the Scissor Boys come out with "Scissor Me Daddy" chants piped in and everything like that, which was awesome as well.
And that was a big thing with me, is because I was wearing pink. I knew I was going to be matching the Acclaimed, even though I am wearing FTR stuff. So that even made it cooler that they were all wearing that. And if all four of them just jumped on the Young Bucks, that would have been best, you know?
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes.
But the match itself was a lot of fun. Guys were flying all over the place. I loved especially how each team mix and match their finishing moves. So you have the point where
I think it was in Max both times, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Max. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
It was Max Caster and Matthew hitting Dax with the EVP trigger. Then Max and Cash hit Matthew with the Shatter Machine.
Yes, and it was near falls. We got two Shatter Machines because we got the original, and then we got that one, and then we got the final EVP trigger in the match. So it's
after a couple of low blows as well.
Yes, and Billy got involved for a little bit, didn't he?
He did, yeah. He tried to gum in, and he hit the Famouser to Matthew on the belt.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Bones then had a chance as he set up the mic drop for Matthew to get hit, but Nick broke it up. They then quickly hit the EVP trigger and earned the quick pinfall victory as they retained the titles. As I said they would. I have nothing else to add in that regard. But then, out of nowhere, fucking grizzled young vets show up. Drake and Gibson are here, and they jump in. They start staring down the Young Bucks, who get out of Dodge, and then they beat up FTR, making the statement basically that we are here.
So, okay, this was the conflicting moment of the night.
Yeah.
If you know about me, you know how much I fucking love tag team wrestle.
Oh yeah.
And very near the top of that tag team list is Liverpool's number one Zach Gibson and James Drake, the Grizzly Young Vets. I met them at WrestleCon and told them I hope to see them in London. Little did I know I would see them attack my favorite tag team.
Yes.
Wow, I am not happy of the two they chose. Oh my God!
I need that match to be in Chicago.
Yes, I have a wrestling Woody right now because I know we're getting GYV versus FTR. And that is exactly what I've been saying that tag team division needs is new blood. And that is new blood. And it's like they can work with everybody. We got new feuds that can go. And, and all are trying to get to the Young Bucks. Oh, wrestling. When wrestling is wrestling, it's so good. This is just wrestling. You're just going to have three teams trying to become champions, and you're going to have three real tag teams at least. And it was like, we still got the other tag teams that they, need to get right and get built up. But we got four solid tag teams tagging at the top of your tag team division. All former world champions in different companies as tag teams. Let's fucking go.
We love it. We've missed this for so long in the tag division in AEW. I'm so hyped about this. If I can't get Motor City Machine Guns, I will absolutely take the Grizzled Young Vets.
Dude, and this is why free agency is so good, right?
It is.
Because the Lucha Bros are gone, right? And they did great things for AEW. Man, they main evented some shows. One of the best tag matches I've ever seen. Them and the Young Bucks in the cage, where they finally beat the Young Bucks. I love them. They were a part of the trios. They helped put the trios division on the map. Now they're free agents, right? They weren't happy anymore, or they just thought it was time to move on, whatever the reason being. Now they're going to go to WWE, and they're going to put a shot in that tag team division, right? But because they're going to WWE and put a shot in their tag team division, that leaves a spot in AEW's tag team division. And now you've brought in the Grizzly Young Veterans that's fresh. So you're not going to see another Lucha Bros versus Young Buck match, which, again, I would have no problem with, or another FTR versus Lucha Bros match. Now you're going to get a new Grizzly Young Veterans versus FTR match, a new Grizzly Young Veteran versus Young Bucks, Grizzly Young Veterans versus Acclaimed, and the rest of the tag team division. And now you're going to get fresh matchups. So this one group leaving is going to make their tag team division stronger, and the other company and the new tag team coming in is making the tag team division stronger in AEW. So it's like, this is why free agency works. It's like sometimes a receiver doesn't work on this team, but hey, in your offense, he'll do great. And that's basically what's going on. Yeah.
We then moved off now to the AEW number one contender Casino Gauntlet match for the world title. We had many people in this match. The number one spot was, of course, earned by Orange Cassidy, who also made his entrance. I didn't get this reference when it first aired, and then I had to look it up. It was a Mr. Bean reference.
Yeah, someone screamed it out before me. I had no idea why that was special.
That was the one that missed me. But then I looked it up, and I was like, oh, Mr. Bean's one of my blind spots. I never
you know what? And it was funny. I was like, "Is this a Jack the Ripper thing?" That's what I said out loud, and then someone yelled at me, "Mr. Bean." So thank you for correcting me, sir.
He's like, dumb American.
Yes, you filthy, stupid American. You're supposed to know Mr. Bean. I'm like, all right. Okay. I mean, he made a cameo in Love Actually. I know that. That's about it.
Love you some Love Actually. And then the number 2 competitor in the gauntlet match was Kazuchika Okada. Oh my God, that was so like Okada in this match. First of all, was amazing, but we have to say the number 3 entrant. We had seen him earlier in the night. He actually got a peck on the cheek from Miss Mariah May, and little did we know Mariah May's luscious lips and her wonderful kiss bestowed upon Nigel had healing powers. Nigel McGuinness, for the first time in 13 years, suits up and hits the ring. Number 3 in the gauntlet match. He returns to wrestling in his home country. And then that kiss also proceeds to have following effects because, of course, Nigel comes out to Fucking in the Bushes by Oasis. And that kiss not only brought Nigel back to wrestling, Mariah's kiss got Noel and Liam to stop fighting and actually go back on tour and reunited Oasis. Mariah May has the most powerful kiss, not just in pro wrestling, but in all of entertainment. Don't you forget it. If somehow, some way, you find yourself in a position where you are lucky enough to be bestowed with a kiss, wherever it may be, from Mariah May, your life may change that very same day, just so you know. Nigel McGuinness is back in a ring after 13 years in his home country. What a fucking moment this was. I couldn't believe it.
Dude, it popped, and immediately, dude hadn't got to the ring, and they was like, "Oh, we're getting Danielson versus McGuinness." Dude wasn't even in the ring, and somebody was already screaming for that match. So I'm just saying that match has to happen. But it has to happen in like the UK, right?
It has to.
It has to happen in the UK whenever it happens. But
Forbidden Door next year.
Yes, whenever it happens, it has to happen. Nigel McGuinness versus Bryan Danielson. But I was so happy for Nigel. I like that dude tries to be kind of the stoic Brit, but you could just feel him beaming with excitement. The crowd was like going fucking crazy. He's one of the biggest stars ever. Yeah,
that man was huge.
I didn't get how
he lived and breathed Ring of Honor during his time.
I didn't get how big he was until the moment that name popped up and he stepped on the curtains to a song I had never heard before. It was great.
Dude, I mean, what a moment that was. And then we also had the new G1 Climax winner, Zack Sabre Jr. come out. And when those two guys got face-to-face, Zack Sabre Jr. and Nigel McGuinness, the British wrestling chants echoing throughout the halls of Wembley Stadium. What a moment that was, too, of just those guys getting to lock up as well.
Yeah, dude. This was like, did that mean anything to me? No. Did I feel what it meant to the audience? Absolutely. That's how powerful it was. Like, I felt it. I felt childhood dreams coming true.
Absolutely. Also, I do have to mention from the beginning of the match, having Orange Cassidy hug Okada. Like, Okada's like, "I love you, we're best friends." And then he just has his face change towards the camera. Dude. Again, Okada is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Dude, I love it so much.
This dude gets the comedic timing. He gets what it is to be a heel in America. The whole over-the-top thing, it's just like, this dude's amazing.
He is. Hangman, of course, comes out, and he's killing everybody. The match goes on and on with guys coming out, but then the final man who enters the gauntlet match, our boy who we just recently talked about this past week, the one and only, formerly the one and only, Ricochet, is officially all elite. He comes out, and he's flying all over the place, looking like a beast. He is like feeling himself too. You can see how much this man is pumped up. There's a point where Jeff Jarrett takes a guitar and I think he hit Hangman with it actually. And as the match goes on and on, Christian Cage, who also put himself in this match, he spears Nigel McGuinness, and Luchasaurus comes out, and he's about to chokeslam Christian Cage because they lost that match because Christian got in the way. Looked like Luchasaurus was going to be the one to finally break away, finally no longer go under kill switch, finally break off from the patriarchy, but then he changes course. He chokeslams Kyle O'Reilly. He then puts Christian Cage's body on top of Kyle O'Reilly, and Christian steals it, wins it, and he is now the number one contender for the AEW World Championship. He wins the gauntlet match. Such a fun match. Christian with the win to suck the air out just to make everyone so mad, as they thought maybe this is the moment where Luchasaurus breaks free of the shackles. Not the case. The patriarchy with a chance to get the AEW World Championship back to the family. What a fun match. And Ricochet is all elite. It's only a matter of time before we get Will Ospreay and Ricochet. And I want to be in attendance when we get that match so bad.
Okay. I'm going to make a request from everyone that's not going to mean anything or get any attraction. Can fans stop being weird anytime someone goes from one company to another? Can you just enjoy it or not enjoy it? You know, taking your little pot shots online, very annoying.
Yeah, no, we saw Ricochet respond to a lot of them.
Oh my God.
Like, oh, ha, 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 the speed champion's there.
Again.
He's like, I was a champion. You fucking weren't.
I love Ricochet. Please don't reply to these people. Just don't. They just wanted you to reply.
Exactly.
Like, you gave them a reward. You know, I'm very excited Ricochet is with AEW. I think again, it's like when you talk about fit, he fits in our offense better than he fits in their offense. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with
it's a scheme fit.
It's a scheme fit. It has nothing to do with one being better than the other. It's a scheme fit. Ricochet, the way AEW likes to tell stories, I think he fits better in AEW. There are going to be some people that fit better in WWE. Look at Ethan Page. He's the NXT champion. He fits better there. There's nothing wrong with it. People switch teams. This is what happens. Okay? I wish nothing but best for Ricochet because he's on the team I root for right now. But I also wish nothing but the best for Ethan Page. It's not hard. This is not hard. Just root for your guys. You don't have to root against their guys, you know?
Right.
I am glad Ricochet is in AEW. That's amazing. But fuck that ending of that match. Oh, my God. It was brilliant.
I was going to say, that sucked the air out bad.
But it was brilliant.
It was brilliant, though, yeah.
Dude, I listened to few AEW podcasts. Nobody even mentioned Christian being in the match, let alone winning. They teased the Luchasaurus face turn by calling him Luchasaurus again.
I know, and it was his old music.
Yes, and everybody was like super excited because they thought he was going to chokeslam Christian. He comes out, helps Christian win. Oh my God, you son of a bitch, Christian. He said he was going to use the trios titles to go after the world title again. He said that. And that's exactly what he did. Christian, man. Yeah, everybody else is playing checkers. Christian is playing 3D chess, son of a bitch.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, what a moment. The American Championship match between MJF, the champion, and the aerial assassin, Will Ospreay, with his massive Assassin's Creed entrance. And what a moment it was. I mean, this match was just incredible. Absolutely spectacular stuff. Crowd fully invested in every single moment MJF getting heat with the kangaroo kick, and then MJF just consistently just doing so much damage and also hitting the Long Island Sunrise as again on him. MJF just being able to get his foot on the ropes to stop the count, and fans are chanting for Ospreay to hit the Tiger Driver. They're chanting it at him. And as the match goes on and on and on, he tries to go for the hidden blade. MJF gets out of the way, and he hits a cameraman. Like, that cameraman who took that hit from Ospreay's hidden blade died. I don't think he's alive anymore. And
if what was on social media was correct, that was UK wrestler Chuck Mambo that took that hit.
What a bump he took. What a freaking bump he took in that regard. Absolutely incredible stuff there. And we then have a moment where they did post on social media that apparently the Dynamite Diamond Ring was stolen, missing, whatever the case might be. Maybe it was like what happened with Jericho when he first won the AEW World Title and he lost it in a Longhouse Steakhouse.
Yes.
Yeah. But so he grabs a pair of brass knuckles that he's going to use. And
I got an interesting thought on it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say it after the match because it would, foreshadow.
Yeah, for sure. He low blows Ospreay and then has brass knuckles and he's getting ready to use them. But a guy in a hood jumps on the apron and knocks MJF. And it's Daniel Garcia back after he was taken out by MJF.
And if you don't know the lore, the wrestling lore, it was shaved head Daniel Garcia. This ain't dancing, popping hips Daniel Garcia.
No.
This is red motherfucking death Daniel Garcia coming to kill everybody.
Absolutely. Hidden blade hit by Ospreay, and then he finally hits the Tiger Driver 98, pins MJF, and wins the now, once again, international championship. Will Ospreay with his coronation.
Yes, he wouldn't even take the American championship.
Christopher Daniels comes out and gives him the true belt.
Yes, and
huge,
dude. So first of all, that entrance, the Assassin's Creed's entrance,
dude, spectacular.
That MJF entrance, and I know your music and wrestling is your brand. But if that dude would have came out as Apollo Creed doing Living in America and he gave us a little shimmy.
Amazing, dude.
I just think that would have been the kiss. Again, you can always make something better in your head. It might not have popped at all, but we're a big Rocky fans.
Huge Rocky
fans. So that would have did it. But
one thing though about MJF's entrance though, he did one of my massive pet peeves when it comes to wrestling entrances, and it's a niche, super nitpicky pet peeve. You're in an outside stadium with a giant cover over the ring, and you had streamers in the ring get shot off, so they're hanging from the top of the thing the entire show and consistently fall into the ring too during the match. Hate that. I hate it.
I hated it being there. Visually, it just looked bad. So
I hated it. It was the worst. It's an easy thing to overlook. It's an easy missight, but cannot stand it. It's just, I think the Young Bucks did it last year, and I hated it then too.
So,
it's the worst. Don't shoot off streamers when you have a giant umbrella tent covering the ring in an outdoor arena where there's wind blowing. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that at all. That is stupid. So yeah, I completely agree with you. But this match,
oh, it was unbelievable, dude. This was my this and Mariah and Tony, dude. It was back and forth between these two.
Dude. And a world where this was booked like anywhere else, those two matches would have been pretty much the whole show because it was just they were that important. They meant a lot. So, dude, the idea that you got so much more than that was amazing. And this match killed. It killed. Yeah, my theory is, because MJF reported early in the day that his ring got stolen. Daniel Garcia stole his ring.
I would agree with that as well.
I think whenever they get to happen, Daniel Garcia then
Danny's going to be up there being like, look at my new jewelry.
Yes, and he's going to hit MJF with the ring because that's what he kind of used to try to take him out. I thought that was cool. I liked that Daniel Garcia never touched MJF. You know, he distracted him, you know, but he never touched MJF.
Right.
So he didn't do anything to cause MJF to actually lose. There was another instance of that later in the night, and I think that it worked so well because it builds up the tension between MJF and Daniel Garcia. But, you know, it wasn't like, oh, Will Ospreay only won because Daniel Garcia showed up. But as the heel, he can say, Will Ospreay only won because Daniel Garcia showed up.
There you go.
But, yeah, again, this is wrestling. This is storytelling. Since the first match, pretty much since Bryan Danielson match in Dynasty, if everybody wants to talk about how long the ending of this story and this storyline has been booked, since he hit Bryan Danielson with it and swore off the move, you could pretty much knew he was going to use the move in a big situation to win a big match. Then it was MJF. So I was trying to tell everybody, I was like, when we were doing the predictions, I'm like, I'm not a genius or anything. Like, they've been telling you for a month how this match is going to end. They told you exactly how it's going to end over and over and over. It wasn't even a foreshadow. It was a subtlety hammer. And then when he finally hooked him up for the Tiger Driver and he hit it. Now, I did have a prediction on my little bingo card. I said MJF. I thought MJF was going to hit him with it first, and like Ospreay was going to kick out at one or something.
They're protecting the hell out of that move, man.
Yeah, so he didn't. They didn't. He never hit it. Will Ospreay hits the move. Everyone in the crowd knew it was over, but that pop, that yell, Ospreay, Ospreay. Dude, I thought I knew what like nuclear pops were until I was in Cardiff and until I was in Wembley. That man, Will Ospreay, is a god in England, and I think I would build him an Undertaker-type streak in England, like 10 years without losing in England, and then that's how you put someone over, is that they finally beat Ospreay in England.
Yeah, I mean, that would be huge for sure. We then move over now to the TBS Championship match between the CEO, Mercedes Moné, versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. First of all, corgis! Oh my God, Mercedes had corgis in her entrance. I was dying. They looked so cute. Doggies looked so cute. I loved Mercedes' entrance. It was great.
I have not seen it on TV. I kind of saw it from the side. And then I saw the togs on the screen, and I just love that. And I know how England loves animals. So it was like, that was cool. And then Britt Baker got a huge pop. Yeah, that was cool. This match underwhelmed.
I was going to say, this match has been the subject of a lot of scrutiny, and it did underwhelm for sure. Now,
yes.
I want to say too firmly, I feel like this match, I don't want to say it was set up for failure, but they didn't do him any favors. You had to follow Will Ospreay's coronation in his home country in a storyline that has been building upon months upon months upon months. And this match was going to take this crowd out alongside having Daniel Garcia return.
Yes.
This match was going to tear the energy out of the crowd, and whatever match went on afterwards was going to have to deal with a lot of struggles. I think this match and the match that followed it should have swapped.
Dude.
That's how I felt. Or what Floyd said, you could have had the Women's World Championship swap with the TBS Championship. I think you have a good chance of keeping the crowd's interest. But my opinion is that you put the gimmick match after the big like coronation moment. The big gimmick spots are a good chance of keeping the crowd's energy a little bit.
Yes.
That's my personal opinion. So I thought the TBS Championship and the coffin match should have swapped. That's just me. But yeah, no, this match had some tough moments in it for sure, and it has a lot of people. Dude, I don't know about you, man. And again, this is mostly just wrestling Twitter, who like I don't take their opinion on anything. I never want to know how to gauge these people because you people are psychopaths and I don't treat wrestling Twitter as a true source of information or a true gauge of like what the people think, because Twitter's not real. But y'all turned on Britt so fucking fast.
Dude, let me tell you.
Crazy.
Let me tell you. First of all, Britt's completely untalented, and she should never wrestle again. These are the overreactions that I heard. Dude, you in a match, in a show full of big moments and reactions, you were getting a wrestler wrestling a match where the champion retained. The bad guy won. As far as placement on the card, I don't know what the thing was. I thought this was the worst placement on the card.
It was.
Because you were going to get a nothing non-emotional ending. When I was talking about the Max Exodus to the bathroom, dude, so many people went to the bathroom after the Will Ospreay match. And if you're sitting there in the crowd, they didn't come back until about 15 minutes into Mercedes and Britt, and there was 5 minutes left.
Dude, you couldn't hear there was no reaction to anything for the first 10 minutes of this match.
Yeah, because everyone was gone, and everybody was still excited and buzzing from MJF. They were done no favors by the placement of the card. Was the match well executed? Again, for my spot, I thought it was fine. I didn't see what everybody was doing, but it was funny. It was funny. The biggest criticism I saw was on the Panama Sunrise, which is hilarious. Because, again, I always reiterate, fan. Okay, the Destroyer, you jump down and you go over. And he's like, man, Britt was so bad, Mercedes had to flip herself. I'm going to give you a news flash for everybody who listens to the show. I know y'all probably all know ball. Everyone that does that move flips themselves. Everyone that does that move flips themselves. Like, you can say Britt did 100 other things wrong in that match, but the one thing was focused on probably wasn't her fault. But like I said, I don't know, because I don't wrestle, right? Yeah, and it was just funny. It was just like, this is crazy.
And again, too, there was a great moment in this match where Camille jumps on the ropes and the New Japan Women's Strong Championship was in Britt's hand, and she throws it to Camille and does a full Eddie Guerrero spot and gets Camille tossed out of the match.
Yes.
That's great work from her.
Yeah.
But
I feel like this was Britt's dream opponent, her dream match. This is, again, me speculating. Maybe Spotlight might have been too big. Maybe you run it back on the Dynamite and it's a lot better of a match. I don't know. Maybe there was a timing, communication, all sorts of issues.
It definitely felt like it was an instance of you go out there and the chemistry is just not there on that night. I feel like you run it back on another night, I do think there's a chance that they kill it, because I think you have two of the best women's wrestlers in the world wrestling against each other, and sometimes just chemistries don't mix, and you have an off night.
But you saw people's agenda. If you didn't like,
dude, it was so
if you didn't like,
fast. And honestly, considering it's with Mercedes Moné, and Mercedes Moné's fans are scary. We saw how they could be when she was Sasha Banks.
I'm gonna tell you,
her fan base is scary. You want to talk? Fuck the CM Punk fans, dude. Mercedes fans are scary.
They were the Sasha stands. Now I call them the Mercedes Mafia. I don't fuck with them. I don't say anything bad about her. I don't like post. I don't retweet. I don't comment when it has anything to do with her. I'm staying far away from it. I am not scared of much, but I don't want there's the eye of Sauron, and I don't want it looking at me.
1,000%, dude.
Yeah.
You saw that come out so fast. Like I said, the turn was swift.
Yes.
People were begging for Britt Baker to be back and be back on TV, and talked about how much her absence is missed in the women's division. She comes back, everyone goes crazy. Her first match back after she had instances where she literally was her head was spinning. She couldn't stand. She felt scared. With the level of health issues she was dealing with while she was gone. And she comes back, and I believe this was her first singles match back, correct? Am I not mistaken? I could be wrong.
I think she might have had one on Dynamite.
She might have had one on Dynamite, but she comes back, has her first pay-per-view match back, and y'all turned on her so fucking quick. It's insane. Like, it's actually insane. So, Mercedes gets the victory, a huge win for her. Obviously, the match wasn't what we wanted it to be, and it was absolutely underwhelming. But goddamn, y'all are insane.
It was a nothing finish. It was a nothing match. I'm like, again, but I even said, fine. And it was like, oh man. Then some people
I will say she did have two matches when she came back. She had a match on Dynamite where she beat Sheeta, and she had a match on Collision where she beat Harley Quinn.
There you go. And I thought both of those matches were good. I wouldn't say good, but fine to good.
Yeah. Showed that she still had her feet under her.
Yeah. So I don't know. You have off night. It's like, dude.
And again, the placement was a death sentence.
Correct. And I said that during the match. I felt like this was a Florida State fan situation. Me, after they lost to Georgia Tech, explaining to people that this is one game in August and the game goes through November. The season goes through November. Teams get better and worse as the season goes along. How about you not hang yourself? That felt like the same thing with this. Like, Britt can't wrestle. She should never wrestle. She should retire. AEW should move on. I'm just like, calm the fuck down. It's one bad match. And like I said, I didn't even think it was bad. I thought it was fine. To some people that thought it was bad, you're allowed your opinion. But the consensus that it was disappointing. Okay, she's going to come back. She's going to hit harder. She's going to do better. They've been in the ring. They've touched. They're going to have better chemistry next time. They're going to, plan the match around strengths and weaknesses. That's what wrestling is. It'll be okay.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of just how it is. And then we move off to the match that I thought should have gone after the International Championship match. It's the TNT Championship coffin match between Jack Perry and Darby Allin. And like I said, the reason why I said that this should go afterwards is that I think the gimmick match has enough spots where it can get a crowd and keep the energy at least at a stable level. So that way the crowd gets to calm down a little bit, get their energy back, but then still have some big moments from the gimmick spots to be able to not lose the crowd. You know what I mean? That's why I felt like that should have swapped with Mercedes and Britt. Has nothing to do with my utter hatred of Jack Perry.
And I'll talk about the match. Other than Sting coming out the end, this was the nothing of all nothing matches.
You can go ahead and open. Save me for last at this point.
No, I mean, and that was the thing when you told me that earlier. I'm like, I don't have much to say. Jack Perry won. They used Real Glass, Cry Me a River, and we got a Cry Me a River chant and a Fuck CM Punk chant. But that was the highlight of the match. The match was nothing. And they was like, well, what do you want them to do? Jump off a thing? I'm like, dude, I don't agree with old wrestlers very often. But yeah, when Kevin Nash, I think it was Kevin Nash, I would say it's like one guy does 360 and then one does double 360. Now you need a triple 360, and where you go from there? Well, I literally saw Darby drop from one of the highest ladders I've ever seen in my life through a glass pane in front of me at Revolution. And yeah, my expectations went up for this match, and it was, by comparison of a normal Darby match, it was fine. And then he just lost. And it was like, I heard the match time afterward was cut, but me as a fan, I don't care about that. If they cut you down to 12 minutes, you better make that a fucking awesome 12 minutes. I don't think they did. I thought it was a match that happened, and Jungle Boy just won. Or the Scapegoat just won. I do enjoy his scapegoat mask. I do enjoy that. And yeah, but yeah, I mean, yeah, nothing happened to me. And then Sting came out to Seek and Destroy, and everybody popped, and it was, Seek and Destroy. Yeah, that's the only thing I know about that song. I think the song is called Seek and Destroy.
Yes,
yeah,
it is.
Yeah, and it's by Metallica. There you go. That's what I know. People were singing all the words to it. I'm like, and start moving my lips and making noises randomly to the tune. No, I don't know. But it was really cool. I popped. I had this shock look on my face. My wife said she wished she had her phone out. She's like, your face was so shocked. Because literally, I don't know when it happened. I had just saw a video from what I thought was the night before, Sting at the Cauliflower Alley Club introducing Lex Luger. So as far as I knew 12 hours ago, this man was in, I guess that's like Iowa or something like that. And then he was in my ring. Dude, that was awesome.
Yeah, Sting return was amazing, and I'm so jealous that you got to experience that live for sure.
Then got to talk to him about it 12 hours later.
Oh, I'm sure you did. We'll talk about that later for sure. But if y'all are wondering about me, what the fuck do you want me to say? Like, genuinely, what do you want me to say? I told you what this was going to be. I said straight up what this match was. The definition of pissing me off. Darby retains, Jack retains, beats Darby in his own match.
The Labor Day weekend sale is on at Tanger Outlets. Score up to 70% off at top brands like Nike Factory Store, Crocs, J. Crew Factory, Gap Outlet, and so many more. Refresh your wardrobe with the latest arrivals for less from all your favorite brands this Labor Day weekend. Tanger Outlets. Always on trend, always on sale. Plan your trip at Tanger.com.
And then, the crowd gets their rocks off. Now, let me be frank right now. I told everyone before, I don't care what a crowd chants in regards to hating CM Punk. Because last thing I'm trying to do is try to defend a man's honor of one of the most controversial and very hated men in wrestling in a lot of parts of the world. Not trying that. It's not a battle I want to fight, and I'm not about that. And I'm not here to convince you on why you should like CM Punk. You hate him, you hate him. I completely respect that opinion, and you can go ahead and do that all you want. I like him. That's really all I care about. So the fuck CM Punk chants and the Cry Me a River chants, had a good feeling those were going to be coming in the match, so I didn't really care about that to begin with. And then Jack, of course, goes out with the one spot that everyone remembers from the match. Because if I went out and asked 100 people who watched All In, name me a spot from that match that doesn't involve Sting coming out afterwards or the real glass. You can't name another spot. You can't. Maybe Darby having thumbtacks taped and glued to his face. That's not a spot, though. That's just a thing he did before the match. That was a part of the match. You can't name another spot from that match because it was a one-spot match. It was a giant circle jerk session where this man got to enjoy his 20 seconds of fame on the anniversary of the day where he got choked out like a bitch. And he got everyone to sing Cry Me a River and fuck CM Punk chants as he's basking in the glory of him pouring out real glass and then landing on it. Again, I don't know what else you want me to say. This man who claims to be past this, and this company that claims to be past this and trying to avoid this black eye on the company.
I don't know if they've ever said they were past it.
I don't know, man.
I don't think they've ever said that.
I don't know. It just seems like that they want to move past it. They literally tried to hide the video of the footage after they aired it, so they want to get past it, or at least they want to forget about it, but then it just keeps coming up. But regardless of the company, Jack has a life raft, and his life raft's name is CM Punk. He holds so tightly onto that life raft. He holds so tightly onto the name of CM Punk and the mention of CM Punk so tightly with a vice-like grip Because if he ever was to let go of that said life raft, he would sink to the bottom of the fucking ocean. Because no one would care about anything he does. His TNT title reign, meaningless. Other than the fact that he made his own championship belt, which is a cool thing he did, but the design is dull and bland. His character, garbage. Everything he does, everything he says, trash. But if he says anything about crying a river or mentions glass or any of this kind of stuff or does stuff in Chicago at a Windy City Riot New Japan show to piss off the Chicago fans, or if he mentions CM Punk in any sort of fashion, does all of a sudden he rise back up from the bottom of the ocean for people to talk about him and people to dunk on CM Punk for another 10 minutes. And then once that life raft disappears and he can't hold on to it, back down to the bottom you go. So, you got your rocks off on that for another 5 minutes. Good job. The other guy's about to main event Berlin. Don't know what else I want you to say, or what you want me to say.
Is that the main event of Berlin?
It's probably going to be the Gunther Randy Orton match, if we're being honest, or maybe your boy Cody.
I was about to say, come on.
I mean, he's about to do big numbers in Berlin, though. Regardless if he's the main event or not, though, he's about to do big numbers in Berlin. So the point still stands. This match was just complete nothing. If it vanished into the thin air, be a nice little moment for me to just not have to think about it.
You literally talked about the match longer than the match lasted.
I did. I gave this match, honestly, more air than it needed.
Yeah,
or it
I was
deserved.
going to say, I didn't think there was much to say about the match.
There's not. That's it. Which is why I'm leaving it at that.
Yeah,
you got your 5 minutes. You got your 5 minutes of the songs, of the chants. Continue to try to get any kind of relevance off of anything besides CM Punk. You will fail, like you have been. Other than that, maybe try to get a sponsorship with Taco Bell, and you can get your numbers up or maybe get a pay boost. Otherwise, shut the fuck up.
He can't get a sponsorship from Taco Bell because they're owned by Pepsi. CM Punk is the official sponsor of Pepsi.
Find a workaround or something. Or maybe go to Del Taco. We could always do that as well. So, I don't care. We move on to the match that actually matters.
The main event. And
event.
Before we talk about this match, I called my brother. My brother has his phone set up to download the show, but of course he doesn't listen to it. And that's not about that. I just wanted to say this. This is a completely independent thought from mine. So I called my brother today to talk about going to SmackDown, which is on his birthday. And we started talking about the show. And you know what he said to me? The first thing he said to me about the show: I wish they didn't put Bryan Danielson's career on the line because they gave away the ending. And he said, for me, all the false finishes and everything they rung hollow because I knew Swerve wasn't winning. And I threw him up my hands and I said, hallelujah. Because we said that on our show. This match was a banger match. But I've heard people talk about, oh man, when he hit that move and get the kick and Bryan Danielson kicked out, it was such a moment. And I was like, I was so jealous of them. I was jealous of the people watching it because they got emotion out of that. And, the trying to his kids and all that stuff. I was jealous because they got emotion out of that. But I knew Bryan Danielson was winning. So I just kind of watched it like a wrestling match. And all the emotion were taking out of it for me. And it sucked for me. For all the people that got to enjoy it, they were able to put in their disbelief and truly think Swerve was going to win. I tip my hat to you. Because you enjoyed this match on a whole different level than I was. Was it a great executed wrestling match? Amazing. When he no-sold that thing, I was like, oh God, and I pumped up. But I knew Bryan Danielson was going to win the match. So I could not enjoy the match as much as I wanted to. So to all of you, out there that enjoyed this match, thought it was the mess of the year, was executed well, let you know Floyd is genuinely jealous of you. Because unfortunately that experience was taken away from me because I knew who was going to win. And to me, if they just took, and I'm talking for my brother or whatever, they took that career stipulation away and still booked it like Swerve was trying to end the man's career, I think that took away that idea that Swerve was obviously going to lose.
Because Swerve the whole idea of Swerve saying, I'm going to send you home to your daughter, I'm going to send you home to your family so you can actually live up to your promise. And he's screaming at Birdie. And he's just like, everything he did, dude, the Swerve heel stuff was spectacular. The moment where Birdie kind of hides under Brie and is like, almost looks like she's crying, the crowd reaction to that was amazing. And like you said, putting his career on the line, it gave it away. We called it instantaneously the moment he said that. That being said, from everything that Floyd said, which I echo his statements as well for that, the match was fucking great, dude. The moment where Danielson goes for the Busaiku knee and Swerve goes into the corner, doesn't sell it, and he's laughing maniacally and then hits the house call. God, that spot was so good. It was so good. And then the other thing that we did call as well was the fact of Hangman Page coming out there, and he gets Swerve distracted, allowing Bryan Danielson to get a big opening in the match.
Danielson was dead. You know,
he was dead. He was dead.
Swerve
big pressure was hit. Multiple house calls.
Swerve was going in for the kill, and Hangman came out. Now, again, I love, just like they did earlier, I love that he didn't touch him. Right? Because I think if he touched him or hit the clothesline or whatever, that does take away from Bryan Danielson winning.
Yes. He didn't
touch him, gave you everything you needed. Bryan Danielson, best wrestler in the world or whatever. And he went out and just won the match. I don't like that he tapped him out. Again, nitpicky. I'd rather him did the Busaiku knee 2 or 3 times and then pinned him. I don't like that he tapped Swerve out because I just don't think like the character that was represented to me on Swerve is that dude would rather die than lose the title.
Right.
So he puts him in the move and he passes out. Boom, that's great. Hits him with the knee and pins him. Boom, that's great. Him tapping out, I don't think works for the character, but that's my vision of the character, not Swerve's vision of the character because Swerve tapped out. But I feel like the pass out or the knee would have worked better there.
I can understand that as well. But regardless, though, this was a moment that just made you feel good. Danielson is just a guy that everyone in pro wrestling loves and respects so much. And seeing him with his family, with a bloody face, holding the AEW World Championship in his hand, dude. Honestly, such a great send-off moment for this show.
Yeah, it was. It was a great moment. And it was kind of funny because I posted this on Twitter. I got divorced from my first wife a long time ago. My mom passed away. And my big event to go back to watching wrestling, my big event was All In. I mean, not All In, WrestleMania 30. That was me coming back. I didn't go to WrestleMania 21 through 29. So 30 was the going back, and that represented my return to traveling for wrestling, right? Like now, started then. So the start of my travel for wrestling started with going to WrestleMania 30 and watching Daniel Bryan main event and win WrestleMania 30. Yes, with both belts. Very beautiful ending. One of the best endings ever. I mean, actually, in my mind it was top the next year, but still, doesn't matter. Daniel Bryan. And then 10 years later, That was 2014. This is 2024.
2024.
10 years later. And he never got his real run with the title. I mean, it was cut short very quickly because due to like concussions or something. He comes back to AEW in London, 50,000 people, wins the title again. His wife, which I don't believe was his wife at the time, his kids that weren't even born at the time, in the ring celebrating with him. Dude, such an awesome moment. And if you're one of those people that at the press conference, they said, Bryan Danielson said this was the best moment of his career, that he believed is the best moment of his career. If you're one of those people that want to argue with someone on what the best day of their career is, their opinion of the best day of their career, touch grass, have a meal, whatever is in your wheelhouse that makes you happy, I need you to do, because I think you're insane. Because I can tell you what the best day of my life was, and you can tell me what you think it should be, but it doesn't fucking matter. The man's allowed to think what the best day of his career is. Like, whether you think WrestleMania is bigger than All In, which it is, obviously, but he had to live everything that happened after he won that title, which that's his, and that probably had shaped his opinion of that title win. And then he lived now with his wife and kids celebrating in the ring with him, his kids that didn't exist then. Just maybe he loves his kids and wanted them to be there. I don't know. Is that
pretty simple thought?
Is that insane? I mean,
I don't think it's insane.
And I'm like, dude, but in the end, you can have your own opinion on what the best day of his career is. But at the moment you cross the line to argue with him or to say that you're disappointed that he would say that, that's when I say you've lost touch with reality.
Correct.
If he said WrestleMania 30 was his favorite day, I'd shrug my shoulders. The man can think whatever his favorite day is. That's his life.
Mm-hmm.
It's his life. Best wrestling show I ever been to in my life was All In 2018. I've been to a lot of amazing wrestling shows. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people listening to the show would say, I know you were at this show and it was better than All In 2018. Cool. All In 2018 is my favorite show that I've ever been to. It doesn't change a thing based on your opinion. I was at All Out 2021, which I think that's the best show you've ever been to, right?
All Out 2021? Oh, yeah.
That's the best show you ever went to. We were both at that show. But I'm allowed to have my opinion, and Austin's allowed to have his opinion, and we shouldn't even argue about it because it's based on our own experiences. I was so annoyed. I was so annoyed. And I was like, Floyd, don't engage. Don't engage. Don't tweet. Don't engage. Because that gives this shit oxygen. But I'm going to talk about it on the show. Because it annoyed me to a whole level with something I rarely do. It annoyed me with the whole fandom. That this was even a conversation.
Oh, yeah.
His personal opinion, people argued with him. And like, even some of my friends, not going to mention who, even some of my friends, and I was just like, why do you have an opinion on what his favorite moment is?
You can be like, hey, that's his favorite moment of his career. This is my
favorite moment of his career. Yes. But to say the man was lying.
That's insane.
That's you have lost touch with reality.
Correct.
Okay.
So yeah, that's an absolute thing. Again, like
this show was amazing.
This is you getting way too deep in your tribalism corner, guys.
Yes. And we poke fun.
We poke fun when we do too.
But I used
all that kind of stuff.
But me, I used to love playing in the mud. But I will no longer be a part of the mud. No. This dude's allowed to have an opinion on his life. On his own life and experiences.
Correct.
Dude.
He doesn't need you trying to just scream and shout about how
he didn't scream. He didn't say, this is better than WrestleMania 30.
No, he doesn't need you screaming and shouting about it.
Yes. He didn't even say anything about WrestleMania 30. He just talked about how this moment meant something to him.
The first moment, you mentioned All Out 2021, the first moment Danielson arrived in AEW, he talked about how he loved the place he worked before. And he mentioned how that might get some boos from the crowd. But he loved it. Guys, y'all are way too deep in this shit than they are.
Yes.
Like, you are trying to make this shit a legit, like, thing when it couldn't even be that deep for the wrestlers themselves that are involved day in, day out with the shit. Let it go.
Yeah, so, okay. But the press conference...
That being said, though, mentioning the press conference like you did, though.
Yeah.
Dave Meltzer with his best piece of journalism, asking Birdie a question. Did you enjoy your time in London? How would you feel about Australia? That, my friend, is the most best option you could to ask that question. It is so psychotically evil, but I have to respect it from a journalistic point of view. That is so greatly done.
Yes. Because
the joke of like how Birdie can't take Bryan Danielson away from us is my favorite joke in wrestling right now. Fuck your kids. We want him to stay in that ring. I love that joke in wrestling. It's so funny.
Dude, got a question. This is completely off topic. I should probably after the show, but I'm asking it on the show.
Go ahead, dog.
As a sportscaster, how do you feel about people getting banned from places, being banned from asking questions because they were mean in articles?
That's the thing. Because obviously, especially with it's tough for me, obviously, because a lot of times wrestling journalists aren't journalists.
Yeah.
There's very few of them. Like, honestly, the few that I kind of consider are Chris Van Vliet, Sean Ross Sapp, and Dave Meltzer to an extent, are kind of really the only three that I actively acknowledge personally. Again, not trying to attack anybody, but most wrestling journalists are just fans with Twitter accounts and podcasts. It's just what you are. Getting banned from asking certain questions. I do think at some point, like, there's some things where they need to, like, read the room. I know Mercedes got asked a question about her divorce at the press conference.
You know what's so funny? I was like one of the people that I didn't have a problem with it because
listen, that's the thing. It is a public thing. They announced it publicly.
Yeah, she's a celebrity, and you know what? Celebrities are asked those kind of questions all the time.
I definitely thought, in regards to the time and place of it, you could have asked it anywhere else other than right after this match.
Yes, I agree with that.
But at the same time, many times these people that come in to do these interviews don't get opportunities like this to ask questions to these wrestlers. So they had the opportunity and they took it. And you get with a question like that, whatever answer you get is the answer is what you're going to get.
Yes.
If it's responded back with like "fuck you" for asking that question, you take that on the chin.
Yeah, and the reason I asked is that at this moment, because very few people have the idea to actually talk to a true member of the media, and that is a unique area that you bring to this, is that you are a true member of the media. So right. I really wanted to know, like, what do you think about that in general, the questions that are asked and that kind of stuff?
I think there's definitely ways where, I think the way that with tough questions like that, there's ways to go about it to get the answers that you're kind of looking for, or like try to get a response that you're looking, because people will dance around it. But I feel like if you go in with at least a level of respect for the situation, and like you're straight to the point of what you're asking for, but you're not trying to be like, hey, what's your thought? Like, can you tell us about your divorce? Like, you can't be just like that blunt about it. You just got to be like, you ask a question in an understanding way, like if I was to ask, like, for example, if I had CM Punk here to ask him a question, like, I would ask him about Jack continuing the issue. I'd be like, so obviously you had a great moments in AEW. Your time in there is no longer past. It's been a year prior, and your last show was at All In, and just a year later at All In this past year, we heard your name get brought up a little bit in the crowd and with what happened in the TNT Championship match. Do you care to comment on anything that took place in that match, or your relationship with the company just and their fans at this point in time. You just kind of go about it in a way where you're at least treating the situation with respect. You're not insulting their intelligence. You're not insulting them as a person. And you just kind of, you go about it. I'm all about asking tough questions because I want journalists to get to tough questions in regards to that. Just treat the situation with respect that, yeah, I'm asking you a tough question, but listen, this is what we're here for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I thought the interview that was the MMA Hour does really good interviews. I feel like with AEW and WWE wrestlers, I feel like you get good stuff from them as well. So,
yeah, I agree.
So that's at least my point of view of that. But again, Dave Meltzer's question again, I just have to say that asking Birdie that is so evil, but I love it so much because it gets a good answer. It gets such a good answer.
Yeah, Dave Meltzer knows what the hell he's doing.
It's very, very good stuff. But that was all in London 2024. The one thing I want to ask you, though, is that how does this compare for you to All in London from a year prior? I do have to feel like I have to ask you that. Obviously, it's going to feel bigger for you since you were here for it.
I was there for both of them.
I know. You were in person for both of them.
Yeah,
but
let me just
say those shows are going to be elevated for you regardless, but from last year to this year is what I mean.
So what I'm saying about, this is how I put it. This year was the first year it felt like WrestleMania. I thought the stage presentation, the entrances, everything was on this level where it felt like WrestleMania, right? Last year felt like All In 2018 on all sorts of steroids. There was very much a Woodstockian feel about it because everybody you knew was there. Everybody that was anybody
Grado
was
was even there.
Yes. So, but this year the stage was bigger. All the fireworks, the production was bigger. It felt like a WrestleMania. It felt like I was at WrestleMania, and it was just like, okay, that's cool. You see, to me, this year you saw what AEW wants their stage shows to be going forward, and this is going to be the measuring stick. But last year, I thought they were both awesome, but they were awesome in completely different ways, right? And honestly, probably think this year was the better show from beginning to end because it had big moments throughout the show. Last year ended with MJF and Adam Cole, and most people about 15 minutes in that match kind of checked out. So I'm going to go with this year, even though last year FTR won the tag belts and my boy CM Punk at the time beat Samoa Joe. So all my guys came out. All those matches, all my boys came out with championships. And then I got to see Will Ospreay and Chris Jericho and all that great. I think this year was the superior show.
I agree with you on that matter. Like I said, even though a lot of my favorites got the victories, and even though it has two matches I didn't like the outcome for, one match I just outright hated. Other than that, for matter, honestly, show top to bottom was just, it felt bigger and the matches just delivered more. And yeah, like you said, it felt just as big as it should be. So, huge show. The last thing I want to do real quick before we go ahead and we talk about Floyd's time from London is mention how what we have coming up for Dynamite. We're going to have Tomohiro Ishii versus Hangman. Jamie Hayter will be having her first match back where she takes on Harley Cameron. Hell fucking yeah. The Learning Tree will be taking place with Roderick Strong versus Roderick Strong and Learning Tree will team up against the conglomeration with Hook. Ricochet will face Kyle Fletcher in his first match, her first singles match in AEW. We're going to hear from Bryan Danielson. We're going to hear from Swerve Strickland and have a Mariah May championship celebration. Fucking yes. The only other things I want to mention were the two news about big shows that they did announce moving forward, which is that Grand Slam is taking place in Australia, February 15th, 2025. And of course, next year in
London.
August.
Yeah, in London. But they have not said
AEW New
where.
Japan Forbidden Door. They did not say where, but Forbidden Door, it will be in London next year, this time in August, where All In will be in Texas in the middle of, it was July, correct?
Correct. And most people believe it'll be in either Wembley Arena, which is the separate arena that they have, or at the O2.
I would think maybe the O2.
Yeah, it won't be at the stadium. So there you go. If it's at the stadium, then I will have to go back on my word of not going to London next year because I'm going to all the Wembley shows. But Kyle Fletcher versus Ricochet, man, that just shows you how much they believe in Kyle Fletcher.
Oh yeah,
because I believe Ospreay's first match after he had that match with Takeshita. His first match right after that, I believe, was Kyle Fletcher, and now he's getting the first match with Ricochet, one of the most anticipated in-ring debuts in AEW history. Not because he's like a CM Punk name, not because he's that, but because everybody's like, when AEW was announced, blah, 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 he's been the guy that everybody's like, when's Ricochet coming? When's Ricochet coming? He's here. So you're going to get to see how his presentation differs from in WWE. Is he going to bring a little bit of WWE with him? This is one of my most anticipated singles matches of the AEW history because I want to know who is this Ricochet. What presentation of Ricochet are we getting? Are we getting AEW? Like, what's his finishing moves going to be? What's, I want to know everything. So, King Ricochet, here we go.
Yeah.
Tomohiro Hiroshi and Hangman. Oh, God. That is like big meaty men slapping meat, but both of the people are like 6 foot or under. You know what I mean? They're gonna beat the shit out of each other. So I am really excited about the show tomorrow. I feel like it's loaded, and since we only got 2 weeks to the pay-per-view, there you go. It's like
and that's the other thing I want to mention too. Of course, is that the first match for All Out has been announced. Pac versus Will Ospreay for the International Championship. These guys have only wrestled once, and it was in Rev Pro. So now we get this at All Out for the International Championship. I'm so glad I'm going to be there for that match.
Dude, I'm going to say this. Minimum 5 stars.
Minimum.
I'm setting the bar at a minimum 5 stars. I'm pretty sure it's going to clear it. If you got a wrestler of the year list and it goes past 1, and that 1 being Will Ospreay, I don't know. We don't watch the same thing.
We don't. No.
To me he's won it, and he's just lapping everybody now.
Yes. Yeah. So, but anyways, the one last thing I forgot to mention actually from the main event from All In, I did want to get this thought out, was that when I heard, I don't know, you might have popped when you heard it, Floyd, but when I heard before Swerve's entrance, you heard, "Ooh, kid." I'm like, fucking DJ Who Kid?
Yeah.
I lost my fucking shit, and I thought they were going to start playing Push-Ups by Drake, and I was about to go crazy.
Dude, so I'm from Oklahoma, I am Texas adjacent. So when Bun B, one half of UGK came out, and I was like, oh shit. Yeah, like, am I an overly big UGK fan? No, I'm not going to be naming UGK records, but UGK has been a part of my life basically since I started, really paying attention to music. My cousin Mario, literally any drive, he'd just play UGK over and over and over again. So him being there, it was like my worlds crossed over. And I know he's been there before and all that stuff, but he literally performed at my time, my favorite wrestler, on the way out to the ring in the main event of one of the biggest shows ever. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy. I was pretty pumped about that. So
for sure, I forgot about mentioning that. I did have to get that out though. Yeah, I heard that and I was so gassed.
I was doing the Super Swerve dance. I was doing it. I was doing it hard. So to all of you that listen to the show, if you just all came for the wrestling and the review, that's it. That's the show. Thank you for listening. Always do your best to be elite and all that jazz. But now we're about to talk about my trip. It could, I don't know. I know that Austin probably has to go, so I'm not going to make it super long. But I am going to give details into my trip. It's not going to be a lot of wrestling because we've already talked about wrestling. Okay? So I just wanted to give you that warning before continuing. Thank you for listening. and keep downloading, share it, and all that stuff. Yeah. So last Sunday, the 18th, we left Oklahoma, went through Chicago, landed in London Monday morning. Was able to pretty much check in early, get a nap. Because of scheduling, the first thing we did is we had to hop on all the trains and all that stuff to go out to Warner Brothers Studios, London, which calling this London is very, very liberal use of London because it is fucking out there. It was like 45 minutes away from our hotel. We went and we got in, which was great. So I'm a big Harry Potter fan. I know you listen to the show and I talk about wrestling a lot. So even my family members, they like, oh, you just like wrestling. Well, we all know I don't. I love a lot of things. I'm a Hufflepuff for all of you who care.
Yeah!
I am House Hufflepuff, honest and loyal to a fault. That is my group. Cedric Diggory until I die. Well, because he already passed away, so it has to be until I die. This was the 20-year anniversary or 10-year anniversary. I don't know, remember which one they said, of Prisoner of Azkaban. My favorite book, not my favorite movie, but my favorite book. My favorite character in the Harry Potter series is Sirius Black. That's when he was introduced, is in that book. So this being a Prisoner of Azkaban thing was especially good to me. And you go in and you have to walk through. And I'm not going to tell you every detail of this. I'm just saying you have to walk through the house and you see people getting sorted and you see where they're all eating dinner, and that's great. And then you go into this massive room, and I will tell you, simply put, if you're a Harry Potter fan, do this once in your life. If you're a Harry Potter fan, do this once in your life, because in this room there's pretty much every set from the movie. And when you think you've seen it all, there is more. And then there's cast there putting on little shows for the Knights Bus and in Forbidden Forest. And again, if you're not a Harry Potter fan, you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. But the Forbidden Forest, and there's the music going on, and you are literally what I feel like is in the world of Harry Potter. And for a Harry Potter fan, that's my favorite fantasy, sci-fi, whatever you want to call it, a series. I was in heaven, right? My wife watched all 8 movies because she's the real MVP about 2 weeks before we left, just so she know what was going on. And she didn't give a F about anything. She liked some of the creatures. They're cute, Dobby, and all that kind of stuff, the hippogriff. But you know what she cared most about? And this is, again, why I loved her, is how much I was enjoying it. Mm-hmm. She was literally taking pictures and videos of me getting excited of watching everything. And that made her enjoy her time. So, I mean, dude, I don't know a person like her in my existence. And I'm not going to gush about her like all this stuff, but I don't. It's the best thing ever happened to me. So, when she goes through this and we're there, and believe me, if I would have got there early in the morning, it would have been an all-day trip. But good for her, there was literally a clock. The thing closed at 9:30, so I had 3 hours. There's a food right in the middle, have butter beer, and I got to keep my cup from the butter beer, which is kind of cool because they had a little spot where you can rinse it out and keep the souvenir cup. The food was overpriced, but that was pretty much a theme of London all the way through. I'm telling you, my wife got a double burger, which I don't know why she didn't learn her lessons. I was telling her about they hate ground beef in London. So she got these two really thin patties. When I say they were smaller than a McDonald's burger patty, they were. And she ate it. She's like, yeah. She's like, that didn't hit the spot. I'm like, well, it didn't look like it would. So I go through and we get to go see where all the monsters were created, and we got this little audio recording taking us through the audio guide. I bought souvenir books. Dude, one of the best experiences I've ever had. I would do it again. Because as much as I looked at, I didn't really have time to savor everything. So I would absolutely go again and next time, as much as I love my wife, I would like to take a Harry Potter fan so we could geek out together. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you remember this? Like, I couldn't really do that because, she was like, oh, cool. I'm happy for you. Like, patting me on my head. You're like, oh, good for you. That kind of thing. So,
right.
I loved it. It was a great experience. If you are the Harry Potter fan in your life, go. Just know this. I will tell you, the last stop on the train, there is actually a shuttle to the studio. I did not know that. So we got kind of stuck somewhere in the middle, and we just said F it, and we took a car there. So we spent way more money than we should to get there. So just know there is a shuttle from the nearest train station to the studio. So if you go, take the shuttle from the train station. But it was definitely worth the price. Actually, when I bought the tickets, I thought it was expensive. Then I experienced it, and I was like, this shit is cheap, and they should charge way more. And I never think that, but that's how I felt because it was just such a beautiful, wonderful experience. That was our Monday. Tuesday, we did sightseeing. We did a hop on, hop off tour. We saw the castle. We got to we took a lot of pictures in front of that. We saw the tower.
So you saw the castle on the hill?
No.
That's an Ed Sheeran reference.
Oh.
Castle on the Hill.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I've never listened to an Ed Sheeran album all the way through. Not once.
Killing me.
I mean, I listened to songs, but I've never listened to an Ed Sheeran album all the way through. I know there's some ones that's like addition and subtraction or some shit, mathematics.
You're murdering me, right?
Yeah, dude. I could really go and be like, oh man, have you ever listened to Joe? Yeah, Joe's my favorite R&B singer of all time. I've listened to all his albums. You have never listened to him. Probably couldn't name one of his songs.
Joe's past my time, unfortunately.
Exactly. Ed Sheeran started after I was too old to be listening to his music.
Continue.
No, we had a great day of just going around London. We're listening to the bus tour. We walked through the garden. We just did as much as we could to the point where I just got physical. Like I was just tired of being out, and we went back to the room. We got some food. I don't want to speak ill of London, so you will not hear me speak about their food. Okay, just letting you. There it is. Not for me. I you know what? I need a London food guide. I need a person from London to just take me around to the best food places because my picker is broken. Because
Did you at least go to Nando's?
Oh, fucking love how Nando's. Yeah. Nando's was Sunday. I was going to talk about that.
Okay,
so,
good. I will save that.
Yeah. Nando's is delicious. Okay. So Wednesday, we took the train to Cardiff. We took like Heathrow Express to Paddington, then took the train to Cardiff. Let me tell you, the London countryside that you take on the train to Cardiff Wells is some of the most beautiful scenery I've ever seen. There were periods of times where it felt like I was in Oklahoma. It was just open fields and all that stuff. It was so pretty. So pretty. I am not a landscape person. I ain't gonna tell you. I am like, if I want to see a landscape, I'll just Google the picture on the screen or whatever. Like, I am no fun when it comes to landscapes. But, God, it was so fucking beautiful. Then I went to Cardiff, and Cardiff is pretty much is Oklahoma in Europe. It's a lot slower, a lot more open space. Like, when I say slower, it's just like, it felt like everybody in London was in a rush. We went on a tour of a castle there, the castle in Cardiff. Went on the guided tour. It was beautiful. We looked around. We went to this restaurant. She had a gyro or a gyro. Since we are over there, I'll call it a gyro this one time. I had some chicken wings. We went through this little flea market thing. And my wife bought some olives, and we got a lecture from a man why you shouldn't use cards. You should only use cash, and how he doesn't make any money when you use a card. And I thought that was the most hilarious thing ever because I didn't give a fuck. But it was really, really funny because he was very passionate about how much money he made. And I was like, cool. And then we checked in the hotel. Our hotel kicked ass. Actually, our one-night hotel was better than our hotel that we stayed in for 6 nights. But, yeah, it was cooler. It was more space. We liked the shower better. It was great. Everything about Cardiff was great. Then we went to the wrestling show, and one of the best crowds I've ever been in. A bucket list item that's checked off is an Arena UK show. And Cardiff's fans were amazing. I met a guy at WrestleMobs on Twitter. He does media. I met him, and he was named Mark, and that dude was freaking amazing. He was so cool. Big FTR fan. Actually interviewed them the next day. I met my people, and I heard them sing the songs, and I was like, man, do y'all go to school to learn these songs? And they's like, no, it's just going from football matches all our life. And I know I was talking a lot, and I was loud, and I know someone was, like, looking at me weird because it's like, this fucking American. And you know what? I'm sorry, but I was just trying to take it all in. And I found out Big Bill is a god in the UK. I'm going to guess it's because of his time in the WWE and whatever, but they loved him some Big Bill. I found that out. And then Will Ospreay came out. And if you on my Twitter, at Floyd Johnson Jr., I posted that. That was one of the loudest experiences I had coming out. Will Ospreay, Michael Q, who's another British person. He was the British World Champion at the time. They did a dark match, and he opened up the show. One of the best experiences. I'd say one of the best experiences of the week, but there were like 5 experiences that are like a 5-way tie for one. And just being in Cardiff. I didn't want to leave Cardiff. I didn't. I mean, I truly could have stayed there 2 or 3 days. It opened my eyes that I need to see more of the country, so I am going to see more of Wales. Mark told me, if you like Wales, Ireland kicks its ass. He's like, you got to come to Dublin. And I was like, dude, that is absolutely on my list, so hopefully I'll get to hook up with him. Mark's actually coming over next year for All In Texas. I'm going to have to take him out for some proper barbecue.
Hey.
And barbecue and beer, so that's good. Are you and Sid planning to come to All In Texas?
I know we're trying. We're gonna see. Well, I mean, it's thankfully it's in July.
Yeah,
which is a dead period for me.
Yeah,
like there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to make that happen.
It's so funny because I was telling Crystal, I was like, man, I'm gonna have at least 20 people at that show, and I think that's a low number. And literally, I named 20 people, and I didn't name you, Sid, JR, or Eva, who should have probably been the first 4 people I named. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot. I'm going to have a lot of people I love at that show. So, we had a great time in Cardiff. That was our favorite place. We are going to go back. When you hear about Floyd and Crystal spending 3 or 4 days in Wales, you will understand. I fell in love. I could live there. It was my speed. The next day, Thursday, we took a break because we were on the train. We had taken a train, and then we're on the train to noon. We literally just took that day off. We actually sat in the room, watched TV. We mostly slept, and then Friday was another big day. That was the day we went to do a Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. 10 out of 10. Definitely recommend. 2-part play. We got to see it in its full. I never read the book that came out for it because I wanted to see it in the full form that the creator wanted us to see it, right? I don't want to see the movie version of a book first, right? I don't want to see the book version of a movie first. I want to see it in its original format. This was a play, so I avoided all spoilers. I watched the play in its format. I just thought it was amazing. I would go see it again. Even my wife, who didn't care, loved it. There was a great story, an overarching theme in the thing, and it just left you with this warm feeling. Bought me some merch. Hufflepuff for life. I rock rough and tough with my Hufflepuff. I really enjoyed that. And then Saturday, this probably goes back to wrestling because I did All In Celebration. And that was back in London, down in the Box Park. And as you know, last year I did 15 minutes of negativity about my experience. That was probably the most negative thing I've ever been about anything involving AEW ever. And this year was the exact opposite of that. We got there super early because of my experience last year. We were one of the first 10 people in line. The line never got around the corner and stuff. It was kind of rainy. Maybe that had something to do with it. The merch stand's open. We got in. We went in. And we literally met everybody we wanted to. I think the first person was Britt. I got to meet Bryce again. I had seen Bryce before. It's funny because Bryce, in one day at a show, says, "Hey, Floyd," and like to me, like he knew my name. And then I met him to take the picture, and he was like, "What's your name again?" Huh. So what's your name again? And I was like, huh. So I guess he did know me. Whatever. And just got through meeting people. I got to meet Rick Knox, which I got to tell him, I'm like, dude, since you're the Young Bucks guy, you have, done some of my favorite tag men team matches in AEW. And I told him how much I liked them. And that was cool. And then Mariah. I got Mariah again, so I've met Mariah twice. 2-0. 2-0. 2-0.
You felt the need to DM me too after that one.
Yeah, I DM'd you 2-0. And it was like, even if I didn't want to meet her again, I was gonna do it just so I could rub it in your face. Because I love you.
You had met Harley Cameron as well, dude. I would have absolutely just threw my phone because I need to meet Harley Cameron just so me and her can rap Godzilla by Eminem. Because she did it when she dissed the Acclaim all those years ago, and I wanna rap Godzilla with her. I'm putting that out in the world, manifesting. That needs to be a thing that I get to do one day. Okay. And also, fuck you for meeting Mariah twice. I met her once.
2 times. I've met the AEW Women's Champion twice. Yeah, and I told we met in Philly, that kind of stuff. There was this moment where, so they were coming out of this green room, and there's a line, and then once they're in the green room, the security takes them to where they're going. So Chrissy came out with Dax, and I thought he was going to do the signing, and he was going to the bathroom. So I followed him halfway to the bathroom and realized he was going to pee and turned back around because I don't need to see people pee. I am not that guy. Not at all.
I would have loved if Dax was just like, dog, I know we cool, but not that cool.
Well, it was like he never even saw me because I took 3. I'm kind of taller. I took 3 steps and then I realized where he was going, and I just shot and turned right around. So I was hoping he didn't see me because I really had no interest in seeing him go to the bathroom. I literally thought he was going to his spot to sign. So it was, yeah, it was
That's funny.
It was but the people that were with me, Chris and this the new guy I met, Grant. They saw me, they kind of, and my wife saw me, and she kind of got a laugh out of it. But, yeah, for the most part, no one else saw. I wasn't trying to watch that man pee. I don't need to
that's like
him.
Me when I accidentally thought Sydney left her, when we met FTR in Detroit, and I thought Sydney left her phone on the table when we took the picture. Yeah. And I was like, oh, shit, Sid, did you leave your phone? And I kind of walked towards it, and Dax sees me, and he's like, oh, no, that's my phone. And I was like, oh, my God, I'm so sorry. And he's like, don't touch. And I was just like, not even trying to do that. Thought that was my sister's phone. Yeah. And in the moment, in that moment, I wanted to be like I should have said, but I want to text CM Punk.
Yes. I was so embarrassed. I was like, oh my God, I'm not trying to watch this.
I would have been. You would have been just as embarrassed as I was. Accidentally trying to take Dak's phone as you were accidentally following Dax to the bathroom.
Yeah, I thought he was going, but I should have known it wasn't because logically, Cash would have been with him if he was going to sign, but he wasn't.
You don't know if they don't. You don't know if they pee together or not.
Maybe not. No,
I mean, I know you're their guy, but
I don't. I don't know anything about that. So I always say that. So it was cool. Got to the Acclaimed had a line. So 3 people that I didn't get to meet that I wish I got to meet, but just moving around the line and trying to catch FTR was Acclaimed. I knew they would give me shit for my FTR shirt, so I thought that would have been funny. Prince Nana, but he was moving around. He only did like 15, 20-minute signing periods. And Excalibur. I am going to meet with the man with the mask one day so I can tell him about my respect for him throwing so many moves. And then my wife got to see once again. So my friend Grant, the dude I just met, we just met drinking coffee. He was like, dude, we've been here 15 minutes and you said hi to like 20 people. Are you the mayor of London? And I was like, people know me? I don't know. Because, you have security, the merch people, all those people. I know all those people. Like, I'm friendly with all of them. I'm like, not. And we say wives. I was like, even when I introduced Crystal to Chrissy because my wife's aunt calls her Chrissy. So I'm like, the 2 Chrissys met. So I just said hi to everybody, that kind of thing. And my wife's always impressed when she comes to it because how many people just genuinely like me. I hope I'm not bragging. I hope that doesn't come off braggy, But so we just had a good time and met everybody, and it was a great day. As Dax and Cash, where they're watching Florida State, they said no. They are ACC people, but they're North Carolina people, so I was not shocked by them. And Cash told me, he's like, dude, you make more towns than half of our roster, and I was like, I don't know. And then Dax asked me something that I unintentionally lied to him because he had, do you ever get tired? And I'm like, no. Because if you've ever been with me, I am go, go, go. You've been with me. I don't sit down. I don't rest. I just keep going, right? So I didn't know, I never reached that point of tired. Okay? I'm going to hold that thought. So I get back to the hotel. Florida State game is on. Unfortunately, our TV in the place that we were at, our TV does not let you hook up anything to it. So I had to watch the game on the computer. So I started first quarter. We go down. We score 8 at Florida State. It's Florida State versus Georgia. We get up 8-0. Right? Pass the fuck out. Wake up somewhere in the second quarter. Georgia Tech's winning. This is stupid. Mm-hmm. I think we tied it. We hit this stupid long field goal to halftime. It's like, okay.
There are a lot of long field goals in that game.
Got to make it through halftime. Right? Cool. Go take a drink. Blah, blah, blah. I'm ready for halftime. Fucking slept to the fourth quarter. All right. Watched the whole fourth quarter. We lost. I didn't spend the next 2 hours trying to calm people down. I was like, it's one game in August to a season that lasts in November. You'll chill out. We went undefeated last year. We should go undefeated this year. I'm like, that has not or never been how football works. Maybe in Alabama times. That's not how football works. But
only thing I do want to ask you though is in regards to, this was your first game seeing DJU, your new transfer quarterback. I want to get your opinion on him, since I know there's been a lot of conversation around him from at least game one. Your thoughts on it.
So there's this podcast. I'll give them a shout out because they're pretty much my Bible for Florida State, called the Noelcast, and I listen to them all off season. That's pretty much the only podcast I consistently listen to about something that's not wrestling. Right? Mm-hmm. Good old Bud Elliott told me what DJU was. DJU is a good quarterback. He was a Band-Aid because we have a guy that we like, but we thought he was 1 year away from being ready. We had a lot of talent on our team. Our offensive line was returning. We had good running backs. We had a good defense returning, got a lot of people in, right? He was never supposed to win us games. He was supposed to come in and basically manage games with the talent that we had. Get the balls to our playmakers, right? Our offensive line and our defensive line played like shit in the game, in my opinion.
There was a lot of sacks.
Yeah, our defensive line more than our offensive line, right? And our wide receivers, from listening to podcasts later, they weren't getting open. And when they did get open, he missed them. So I'll say this. It was Ireland. It was rainy. It was the first game of the season. He did not lose us the game. Did he win us the game? Absolutely not. I think there was a lot of things else that lost us the game. I thought there was a lot of parts in the game that lost us the game. I will blame the game, losing the game, on a lot of things. I would not just blame it. I would not put all the blame.
I'm not trying to put that.
No. I was just saying I've heard a lot of people doing that, so I was just putting that out there.
I put the blame on, like you said, the offensive line, because you also couldn't get a run game going at all.
And their defensive line averaged 5.2 yards a carry. That's a first down every 2 plays. We literally were tied 21-21 with 4 minutes left. We needed one stop, and our defense couldn't get it. Our offense never got back on the field. How do you blame DJU for that? So, shit happens, man. Georgia Tech played better on Saturday. Seamus called it. Shout out to Seamus.
Yeah, Seamus was the only one who got it right.
Yeah. Georgia Tech played better than Florida State on Saturday. And Florida State might end up being a way better team than Georgia Tech at the end of the season. But the way football works, teams will keep practicing and they will get better or worse in the season. We will find out who we are on Monday against Boston College. I'm a wee person, so if that annoys you, yeah, probably shouldn't listen to me. I'm a wee person. When I root for a team, I'm a part of the team. So yeah, we'll see who it is. But I didn't think DJU played particularly well. I don't think he played particularly bad, but I don't think our plan was to put the whole thing on DJU. If we need Jordan Travis level performance from DJU, it's going to be a long fucking season because he just doesn't have that in him. So there you go. Maybe we go to another quarterback. I don't know. I trust in Mike Norvell. I believe in Mike Norvell. I think we'll make the adjustments necessary to have a good season. But I also had a very realistic opinion on the season. I thought we were an 8 to 10 win team in the season. I thought if everything went the way we want to, we would go 10-2. If we had games like this with Georgia Tech, I thought our record was. I felt like our record could be 8-4. So ceiling was 10-2, floor was 8-4. So I haven't went away from that.
But back to the closing parts of your trip.
All right. So yeah, slept after that game, got some good sleep. Next day, met up with Murray. Met up with Murray Bone from the Social Suplex. We went and had some Nando's. I got the Will Ospreay order, which he said it's a double breast on a pita, with Peronaise sauce. You get a creamy mash, and if you want to double carb it, get some chips. And the picture showed the big pita, and it showed creamy mash, and it showed some rice, right? But, the picture wasn't what he said. But I remember what he said, so I'll go in. And I don't eat like I used to, so double chicken was not going to be the thing for me. And especially I had a long show, so I didn't want to get too full. So I got the single pita, got the creamy mash, got the Peronaise sauce. Peronaise sauce is the best thing the UK has. Period. I will hear no arguments. I literally plan on going on Amazon or whatever, finding Peronaise sauce, and that is the new sauce for my sandwiches. Peronaise sauce, peri-peri sauce, or whatever from Nando's. And it was the first meal I truly enjoyed the whole week in the UK. Again, not going to spend time burying the food, but I fucking love Nando's. I fucks with Nando's. Nando's will be my all-in meal as long as it's in London.
Damn straight.
If they found they open the Nando's in Texas, it'll be my meal in Texas all in. But it's probably not going to happen. I'm taking everybody. I got a place lined up for us to do a meetup before the show. So hopefully that comes to pass. But yeah, then I had the show, and it was the great show. And then the next day, I reserved the Uber, so it took about 20 minutes. We walked over to where we got picked up in the Uber, got back, no concern. So that's another tip from Uncle Floyd. if you ever make it over to London for All In and you don't want to leave the show early, reserve your Uber. It costs a little bit more, but you guaranteed have a spot wherever you're going. It's going to cost a little more. I'd say put £100 aside for it. It only cost me 51, but I'm saying just kind of like an emergency, put £100 aside, reserve your Uber, get back to your place in one piece. If you Google, hey, where to pick up, they all have all sorts of spots outside of it. They can pick it up. They picked us up at a hotel near the event. And when we made it back, we had pre-packed during the day. So we literally got a chance to take a little nap, which I didn't think we would be. Got back on the plane, came home. First thing we were in the Dallas airport. I had a double cheeseburger from McDonald's. So good. Then I came home, went to Sonic. Got another burger. I hadn't had red meat in 9 days. That's probably the longest that has happened in my life. So so that was good. I still give the vacation 10 out of 10. I went to a different country with my favorite human, and it was literally the best time of my life. She had a great time. We were both fucking exhausted, and we missed our dog. And we came back and saw Winston. But greatest time. If you have the chance to do it, do it. You know, don't feel bad if you don't. You know, shit. It was like I'm 40. Me and my wife have been together 9 years, and that was the first real on-plane trip we took together. And we had a really excellent time, and it was a great way to celebrate 5 years of being together. And it was a good time.
Absolutely. Love that for you guys.
I got some Will Ospreay shorts. I got a vinyl signed by a bunch of people. I posted that all on Twitter. Dude, I'll do it. I will do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So amazing time for you again. So glad you got to experience all of that, even though you're a filthy Tottenham fan.
Oh, I didn't get to finish. I forgot the one thing. Duh. Sting.
Yes, the last thing. I was going to say.
The last thing is Sting. So we're in London, and they have this system where their gates don't open until like 20 or 30 minutes before the flight, right? It's really weird, right? So basically, once the plane gets there and once you can start boarding the plane, the gates open. So we were standing there, and it was like 17 minutes before the gate was open. I was like, well, there's chairs over there. My wife didn't want to walk over the chairs. She was like, I'm done. I went and sat at the chair, talked to this guy that was wearing a Tottenham jersey about Tottenham. What? 4-0. They won. They beat Everton 4-0 while I was there.
Oh, you beat Everton. Ooh.
Hey, 4-0. We did what we had to do, son. We did what we had to do, son. All right, so we talked about Tottenham for a long time. Then I came back to Crystal because it was like a couple minutes before the door opened. And I looked to the right. I was like, Crystal. Put my hand over my mouth. If y'all can hear it, the hand's over the mouth. Crystal, you see who's standing behind you? And she's like, no. I was like, it's Sting. And she turned around. And of course, he didn't have his paint on. So she was like, is that Sting? I was like, yeah, it's Sting. So I'm wearing, literally, this is what I travel in is an AEW hoodie with AEW slides. I am not, I've been mistaken sometimes for a member of the crew. I am quick to say, no, just a fan. Because the reason I wear it, and just a little piece of information, because it's a conversation starter, right? So if somebody else is traveling for the same thing, they see me in my AEW stuff, we can talk about AEW, right? That's the only reason I've ever done it, is so I can talk to other fans about AEW. Well, in this case, it attracted Sting. He waves and like, oh, we're at the show, and starts talking to me. He initiated it.
Love that.
Because I wasn't going to say anything to him, because wrestlers travel a lot. They're probably tired. I'm like, whatever. He initiates it. And I was like, man, you did great last night. Man, that was like a shock moment. He's like, did you know it was coming up? I was like, no, I didn't fucking know. Dude, I thought you were still in the Cauliflower Hour Club. And he was like, were you there? And I was like, no, but I saw it online, so I thought you were still out of the country. And okay, and then he's like, and then I was like, well, yeah, I was at Jacksonville. I was at Winter's Coming when you debuted. And I'm just like, and so, because it's one of those things. Sting's one of my childhood heroes. I have 1,100 things to say to Sting, but I wasn't expecting to see Sting. So I had no more thought, so I just started talking. Like, so he's like, I have an interesting story about Jacksonville. I'm ready to hear it. Sting, talk. I want to listen to you. The lady says, oh, you can come in now. And Sting's first class, so he goes through first, of course, through the quickest line. So Sting goes and sits by himself, and we come in, and we got our spots, and I'm like, should I go talk to him? Because he was literally in the middle about to tell me a story. And Crystal's like, no, leave him alone. I was like, you know what? I wouldn't, before I met my friends that I've met, I wouldn't even thought about it. I would have been sat right next to him and chatted him up, but I learned to think before I act. So, and I think this paid off because I sat down with Crystal and we just sat there and I just started looking at my phone because I knew if I didn't look at my phone, guess who I was going to be staring at the whole time. So I just looked at my phone. Yeah, I was like, I looked at my phone. Next thing I look up. Guess who's walking towards us to talk to us? Fucking Sting. And he starts talking about the show, blah, blah, blah. I tell him, I'm like, dude, huge fan, whole life. You know, he's like, TNA, I was like, TNA, WWE, AEW. I was at your first show, first match for all of those. Because I was. And, you know, and that's like, I focused on that, and he said, wow. So I actually shocked Sting, who's probably heard everything. Right. Yeah, this kid from Oklahoma had been at all of those moments with him. And I was like, dude, I've just been a fan all my life, dude. Yeah. And he told him how I was shocked and all that kind of stuff. And he says, did you get a program? Now, I was wondering, like, I thought he might not have got a program. My brain wasn't working right. He was offering me a signed program, but like, no, we already bought it. We already know this stuff. We already bought a program. I was like, now thinking about the dumbest answer. Yeah, it's like, no, yeah,
it's like, no,
yeah, of course I want a program. But you know, talk to him. And he's like, do you have something I can sign? He offered. I didn't ask. He offered. I did not ask. And I was like, no, I don't have anything you can sign. But can we get a picture? And that's the picture I posted. Sting, as nice as everyone says he is,
fucking legendary, and then class act.
He went over to his spot, sat and chilled. You know what? He wasn't really on his phone. He was like literally the only one in the room not on his phone. He was just sitting there with his thoughts. And I'm like sitting there with my phone, and then I'm sitting there, and then I'm walking up, and these kids was like, and they were like, "Oh, you went to shows?" I was like, "Yeah, Sting's on the plane," and they're like, "No." They were like 5 feet from Sting. They didn't know because he didn't have his paint on. They didn't know who he was.
Right.
So they got on the plane. I don't know if they actually saw him when we got off or whatever. But dude, I'm telling you, 1,000 things I would have said to Sting if you like give me that moment back, because
right. He's like one of those guys that you just want to have like I've had the lucky opportunity to interview wrestlers.
Yeah.
If you could have an hour-long sit-down interview with Sting.
Yeah.
To just kind of just go over so much of his time.
Yeah. And it's just like, I literally just wanted to tell him, the impact he's had on my life. I'm like, I've probably said this on the show. The first wrestling figure that was ever bought for me was Sting. The first show that I was ever taken to, I was taken to because the main event was Sting. When I was junior in high school, I hope this offends no one. I am a Christian. When I was a junior in high school, I was started seeing Sting on the TBN and all that kind of stuff. And then when someone asked me to church, I was literally only open to it because I had seen Sting on the show. So I became a Christian, got saved because of Sting. And it was like, this dude has had this profound effect on my life. And I really wanted to, articulate that, but I couldn't because I was shocked. I wasn't expecting to see Sting.
Right. The last thing you thought was that Sting was going to be on your plane home.
Yeah. So I couldn't get it out, but I think I let him know how big of a fan I am. And if I ever get to do a meet and greet, it'll be kind of cool because got to introduce him to Floyd and Crystal. He seems like a person that would remember me. He's 65. I would not be disappointed if he did.
You're a very recognizable person. I would think there's a good chance.
Yeah. I was like, but I'm 65, so I wouldn't, be like heartbroken if he didn't remember me. I'd remind him and he'd probably remember the flight or whatever. But Yeah. So it was the perfect way to end the trip. I was fucking giddy. I think I give that a large reason I wasn't able to sleep on the flight.
I get it.
Because I had just met Sting. I was tired, but I couldn't sleep. So I didn't just met Sting. And we got home. Literally, we had seen 5 or 6 flights canceled in our times in the airport. We never even had a delay. Now that, when people say lucky, you know I don't like the word lucky. That shit was lucky. I had no control over that. Everybody's getting flights canceled and rebooked around me. We didn't even have a delay. We actually, on 3 different occasions of our 4 flights, got to the place 20 minutes early.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was blessed. It was blessed from the heavens above. They blessed my flight plans. Whether you believe in that thing or not, I think to each their own when it comes to religious or non-religious belief. So yeah, it was just the greatest way to end it. Dude, the shit got 1,000 likes on Twitter. Like, dude, I don't have I think I have like 2,000 followers or whatever. I don't know. I don't really keep up with that kind of stuff. You know very much. Twitter should be more important to me because of our show, but it's not at all. But it was just a great day. It's a great day. Kosha Irby liked one of my tweets. All Elite Wrestling liked one of my tweets. It was a great weekend. It was
absolutely
a great experience. I cannot tell you anymore how much fun I had and how just fortunate I am to live the life that I am with the person that I live it with. And yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all I got.
Yeah, and that's a perfect way to close it out as well. So, again, so glad you had an amazing time, and so glad you enjoyed All In, and what a show it was. Guys, again, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of All Things Elite. We super appreciate all the support. If you enjoy the show, please continue to download it on YouTube Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you choose to listen to us. Turn automatic downloads on. Give us a share with your friends, family, coworkers, whoever you wish. Rate, review, subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And follow us on Twitter at ATElitePod. You can also follow at Social Suplex, who make this show possible. And check out all the other great shows they have on their network. I am at Austin Sumowitz, SZUMOWICZ. And Floyd is at Floyd Johnson Jr. on Twitter. With that, I will let my buddy Floyd take us home on this episode of All Things Elite.
I will leave you with this because I've talked a lot and probably, you're probably sick of it. Take care of the people around you. Love them. Tell them you appreciate them every day. You don't know how long you got them. But I will leave you with this one thing before. And this is something I thought of today. I looked up the average life expectancy of the UK versus the US, and I found out the difference is only 3 years. We have guns, copious amounts of sugar and salt, and that only buys them 3 years. So I'll just die with a triple Big Mac, a McFlurry, and a gun in my hand. So with that, I leave you, and I say, whether it is home, work, or school, always do your best to be elite.